Right at 7:30. Oh my gosh. We weren't a minute late. We went literally
You told them 7:30.
exactly on
Nice.
7. Yeah.
We're on time.
This never
For
happens.
the first time.
Yeah.
In Harry Potter first time readers history.
Good job, guys.
Wow.
Only because you accounted for us being like way late. But, you know.
Yeah, just moving
You're like,
15
yeah,
minutes later
it's
every
gonna
time.
be 7:30.
Like I'll
Kristen's
get
been
at
here for
7.
45 minutes.
Oh, poor thing. She's like, there's no. I'm in limbo. I'm just gonna come.
Everyone's shocked. We're on time. It's the end of the world, Calvin. It is not the end of the world. We are on time. Yes. Grab a drink. Grab some mead, everyone. And join us for these chapters.
No, I do need to refill the mead, and then I can show Kristen and John this place that we were gonna stay potentially.
Is it Harry Potter theme?
Yeah.
I can't
Where is
I was
Oh my
literally,
God.
it's in France. I was looking through the places, seeing all these castles, and it's in Dijon. And then I see Harry Potter apartment. I was like, well.
Oh my
Kristen,
God.
is
Look
it?
no further.
It's too extreme.
I don't know. Your face is scaring me.
It is.
That's
something else.
amazing.
Well, you know what caught my eye? The first picture of this place is just a phoenix.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this place? Are we staying in like a bird sanctuary? And then there's like Hedwig and all
That's
these
got
like
a really cool feel to it, though.
very cool
Yeah,
feel
like
all the
Dumbledore's
same.
office, kind of.
Yep.
Wow.
So, you know, maybe.
Surprise.
That is incredible.
Oh no, you could see it too, but
No, I saw it. I saw everything that needs
Is
to
it a
see.
surprise? You get surprised.
no, I wouldn't surprise you with something like this. That's too bold of a move.
Hey, by the way, for 7 days we're staying in
Yeah.
Hogwarts Hufflepuff common rooms.
That is cool. I'm down.
Yeah, so
Like one night.
that's all it would be. But I just thought that was so funny. And I've seen rooms like that in the States too. Like other people have done rooms similar to this. So I think that's cool that that's like an option.
Yeah. That'd be sweet.
I feel like you have to show the viewers something.
Well, you know what?
We'll
You
throw
can,
it
they
on.
can Google Harry Potter apartment memorable experience in Dijon, France, and they'll find it. It's on Airbnb.
There's a title.
This episode sponsored by
I
Airbnb.
know. Everyone book that hotel for the whole summer.
Use his discount code.
What's a good opening question for some of these chapters?
Oh yeah, I gotta open my book. I'm
I
in
know.
Mead zone. I gotta get into Harry
You
zone.
know?
Harry Mead.
We're gonna talk about that later, but I can't wait to mention that.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't look at the pictures yet.
Picture. Horace
Oh,
Slughorn.
just the chapter picture.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I would not have
He's
pictured
cute.
him exactly like that.
You say he's cute.
Yeah, Slughorn.
plays him in
He's a
the
cute
movie.
guy. What?
Who plays him in the movie? I'm curious.
I don't know, but I forgot his name, but he plays him brilliantly.
Oh,
It's
excellent.
maybe one of the best actors in the entire series of how he plays Slughorn.
What did I write again?
Who's the babe? Ha ha
An
ha.
excess of phlegm. Who's
I
the
knew she
babe?
was coming back.
I thought maybe Ginny had a glow up, but then
That's her emerging. She opens Harry.
yeah, literally I was like, well. But then I was like,
Ginny-
oh, you know what?
That's the way she is.
And I knew exactly what it was gonna be. Makes sense.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Addicting.
Yep. Very much so.
Delish.
I'm probably going to ask you guys this question as we go on, but what is your initial impression of Horace Slughorn?
I always use too many words, but I'm gonna say good, then bad, then good.
What does that mean? Flesh it out.
Glad you asked.
Where did the
Use too
words
many
go?
words. Yeah. we need
So
more
basically-
words.
I'm the one of little words. You can't take that.
It's like, but basically we get introduced to him and I was confused. It's all the drama. It's the chaos, blood on the walls. And then I'm like, oh, this dude is clever. He's awesome. He seems really cool. And then, as I'm sure JK is setting us up for, then we're like, oh, wait a second. Head of the Slytherin house. And he seems a little bit wizard racist. And he just feels a little shallow.
Wizard racist? Why does he seem wizard racist?
Well, he talked down about Muggle-born people. He saying that it was so surprising that even a Muggle-born like Lily could do this. And then he's like, and there was another Muggle-born boy that I once knew that was also pretty good.
Yeah.
Like almost like he's saying, I'm so surprised someone that's Muggle-born could actually be so good. And I'm like, dude, come on now. But it actually made me wonder, are statistically in the wizard world, are Muggle-born people less good of wizards in general? And is it truly exceptional that Lily and this other person and Harry are like above and beyond? Or is it all just prejudice and people are like assuming they're not as good, but they've always been as good? And on paper, the data doesn't lie. They are equivalent across the board. I want to see their OWL numbers. You know what I mean? I want to see the real data.
I was actually curious about that. I didn't look this up, but I was curious if anybody had gotten more than 10 OWLs.
Oh, so true.
Because if Hermione got only 10, I don't know of anybody who's smarter than Hermione. I wonder what Dumbledore got. I feel like Dumbledore would be slacking on like history of magic, you know?
Yep.
He's not like the academic like Hermione.
What? He knows ancient magic. How
I know,
would
that's
he be
true.
slacking?
But he's had a lot of time to learn that now.
Yeah.
Because he's ancient.
Well, he's talked to ancient people like Nicholas Flamel, his boy.
Ancient magic wasn't ancient when he was.
Yeah. It was just called magic when he was in school. So, anyways, that was my impression. Sorry, Jen. Any more Pirates Booty? Are you ready? What was your impression?
Back to the butt talk.
Every time.
There is some butt talk in this chapter. That was one of the
Yeah,
questions
I
I was going to
know.
ask you.
Ooh, nice.
Couch
He's,
with him.
yeah, and he's warming his butt by the fire.
Oh, I missed
Oh,
that.
so
How
true.
loud
When he poked his
does
stomach.
Slughorn apparate?
Oh
That
my
was going to be my initial
goodness.
question.
He operates like a foghorn.
Yeah, it is
like an
like,
explosion.
Pop. You know those videos where like someone drops a massive rock off like a dam and it hits
Oh,
the water and it
yes.
just smacks? That's what his apparition would be.
Yes.
Every single time he apparates and it's like everyone within a mile radius is like, Horace Slughorn. There he is.
It's a kerplunk. That's great.
It's like a couch.
You can go for it. I don't. Yeah.
Also, another side note, my take on Muggleborns is the same as athletes who had less than ideal circumstances growing up.
Ooh, nice.
Like Muggleborns, they have a
Michael
spectrum.
Jordan.
Huh? Yeah. Like Muggleborns, they could be bad wizards, they could be really, really good wizards, but I think the cream of the crop are Muggleborns because they didn't grow up with magic. They don't know
Yep.
what it's like. So it's like, to me, Jimmy Butler, if you watch basketball, had a great playoff run this year. That guy came from nothing, and he's like an unbelievable player in the NBA. Same thing as Michael Jordan. Some of these players who like grew up with nothing, and they're fighting for it, like Hermione to me.
You have to
Yep.
like show that you're
Yeah.
good enough to be
Yeah.
there with them.
Yeah,
I can see that.
some people with something
Yeah.
to prove, and it's not just Muggleborns. I think there's other people with things to prove too. But
But in a way, it does make sense because it's like they have to be so magical that they came from like two humans to like. In my mind, it made more sense than saying that.
It's fair.
Like to. Yeah, like you just had to be that good to come from Muggles versus just getting by
yeah,
in the Wizarding World.
what do you think of Slughorn though, Jen? Do you like him or not?
I was like confused by him. Because you walk in, and his house was a mess on purpose. He made it look that way. Like someone came in. Okay. And he looked like a couch. And so I was a little bit confused about that. Like, is he like a shift what is it
Shapeshifter?
called? Shapeshifter.
An
or something?
anamorphomagus?
Yes, thank you, Danny. I don't know my terminology still.
Or was it just a little charm, a little temporary thing? Because they're all in, what does McGonagall teach? Transfiguration. I was going to say transformation. That doesn't sound right. Transfiguration. So the whole point of the class is about transfiguring things, but it's mostly other things. But maybe yourself a little too. What's up, Wes?
Hey, come here.
Oh, you think that's what he did?
Well, I don't know, because like it's like someone like Tonks can change shape into anything, like kind of anytime. It feels like it's like a part of her. Like, I don't know, but I got the idea that even if she didn't have her wand, she could maybe do that. But it feels like what we're dealing with here with Horace might be more of a charm on himself. Like, he might need his wand. It might take a lot of effort. It might be more short term. It doesn't feel quite as powerful as what Tonks has. But we don't actually know yet, so I don't know.
And then it makes sense that a Slytherin head of house would have those thoughts anyway. Like, of purebloods versus Muggleborn.
Yeah.
So to me, that wasn't really a surprise.
There's something in it too where
I don't think...
you think he's like a little racist for some of those things, but at the same time, your prejudice shows when you're reading it because you're like, he's a Slytherin, he should suck, and then he's a Slytherin and he's a complex character, and you're like,
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
am I racist?
But I don't think...
Slytherins?
I mean, I guess it is what it is, right? But, like, he's not realizing what he's saying is racist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, he's just being very honest and, like, a matter of fact. And to
Yeah.
him, it's not offensive. But, I mean, Harry thought so because he kind of stood up for Hermione and them.
And I think we take those cues from Harry, where Harry starts to not like him so much or get a little defensive. But I felt like Harry was being a little much. Like, Dumbledore brought him here to try and recruit him as a teacher, and Harry
He
started
didn't
getting
know
a little,
that,
like,
though,
ugh.
did he?
I feel like we at least knew
I
that
don't think he knew
he was
going.
a friend of Dumbledore's, right?
Well,
Maybe
I
he
didn't think.
I don't remember the schedule.
But
of it
he
all,
always leaves at the perfect time, so situations can
Dumbledore.
unfold
Yeah.
perfectly.
He's very meticulous in this chapter.
I liked it though too because we got more history about his parents.
Yeah.
Like Lily, she's really smart. She was like the best or his favorite.
Yeah. That was a beautiful little paragraph when he was saying how she was her favorite or she was his favorite.
And wish that she was in his house,
Yeah.
which almost was Harry, right? Almost in Slytherin. But then that made me think of how her personality traits, though. Like, if she almost could have been in Slytherin.
Yeah.
She's ambitious.
Again, Slytherins aren't bad. Most of the Slytherins in this book are bad.
I'm prejudiced racist for them.
We usually hate Slytherins, but Slytherins are great.
I don't hate them, but I see them going down a bad path. Potentially.
Adjusting mics. We'll talk about this in a second too, but no, I'm not adjusting yours. I'm just saying Danny's actually.
Oh, did you see mine
Yay.
again?
No, I made it sure it was all good. I think we're all good. Someone mentioned this on chat, but this can be rife with fan theories. Percy and Bill got 12 OWLs, 2 more than Hermione.
Huh.
So that means that both of them had to have gotten time turners, because Hermione had to drop 2 classes with a time turner so that she didn't have to have a time turner anymore.
That's an interesting thought.
So,
although also Hermione got
What?
O's, right? Like, she was getting O's in everything except one. Bill and Percy might have been more down to just pass. Maybe they weren't
I still don't get this grading system. Like, she got 10 OWLs. What does that mean? It's an outstanding. What's the W?
Outstanding
I mean-
exceeds expectation, and then passing. No, P
I
is
think
for
it was-
poor.
So then why do they
I
say
think it
you
was
got
good.
10
Like
OWLs?
satisfactory. Like, there's one of
Yeah.
those, like, you
So
passed, but it wasn't
OWL
the
is
best.
The passing scores? No, that's just the test. So saying you got 10
Outstanding,
OWL.
exceeds expectations, acceptable, poor, dreadful. Oh, this would be tough if you're listening to it, because reading it, this is very easy to absorb. But Jim Dale trying to explain this all, I feel like I stared at this for like multiple minutes. So yeah, seeing the actual illustration on page 102, very helpful.
Yeah, Danny, can you just video yourself reading? I think everyone would actually thoroughly enjoy that.
As I'm like circling things, making notes and whatever.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is slow going. Yeah, because Bill and Percy, I mean, they're both pretty smart, apparently. It makes sense, but I can't imagine, they can't be better than Hermione.
Yeah.
Even Dumbledore has said, like, some things about Hermione, like, she's basically the best.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and people have kind of hinted, or the thing has been said, she's one of the best students to pass through these doors at Hogwarts, at least in recent history. And I forget if that's something that's real or if we've just kind of said things like that, but
That is unbelievably impressive that Percy got that, though.
yeah, how in the world could he have done that?
Yeah.
There could be more to that story.
I feel like Percy would be someone that would use it. Like Hermione is someone that plays by the rules. I think Percy doesn't. So I think he would use the time turners to his own advantage. Maybe.
You're right.
Like like we were talking about that with Hermione. Like add extra study time for certain things.
Yep.
He would probably do all of that. Add a little extra makeout time with Penelope Clearwater.
Of course.
Got to throw that in there somewhere.
Why not?
And then I think he would kind of use it to his own advantage. So he would get exceeds expectations or outstanding on all his OWLs. I don't think Hermione would do that. She plays by the books. Which makes me wonder what Bill and Percy were doing. What else were they doing with the time turners?
And it feels like Harry took 9 OWLs and he passed all but 1.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know about Percy and Bill, but I don't think they're quite as good as Harry. I don't think they were getting O's, but getting a couple of A's and some E's and just taking a bunch of classes, I feel like
that's
passing
true.
is kind of a low bar.
Yeah, for
so as
sure.
long as they focused on the classes that mattered a little bit more, and maybe there are some easier classes we've not even heard of yet. We know Hermione took like ancient runes, something about interpreting ancient runes or something. It sounds like Bill probably did pretty well at that one. So that would at least be his 10th or 11th, assuming he took all the ones Harry did. So if he ended up in Egypt, he probably got an O on that one. So I don't know. But it does change the way I view Bill. I did not think of him as being a good student to get a lot of
No, he's supposed to be
OWLs.
A lot of them.
cool.
Yeah. He's
Just cool.
That's why Mrs. Weasley said he shouldn't be with Flem.
I know.
Mm.
We'll talk about that as we get there. But let's kick it off. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny?
And Kristen.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers with mead, with more mead.
No brandy for me this time.
Yeah. Ears are not red anymore.
No.
I
Okay.
didn't know she had a daughter.
Chapter 5. We're only doing 2 chapters at a time, which is kind of nice.
You mean 4?
4?
4. Chapter 4. Sorry. Going
Yeah, 2
crazy.
is nice. It feels very digestible.
Yeah, right?
Not only for the reading, but the discussion,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very focused.
So give me a summary of this chapter, which is Horace Slughorn.
Take it off. We meet Slughorn, who agrees to work at Hogwarts, and then Harry and Dumbly, I wrote, that's his name in these notes, and Dumbly go to the Burrow, where he gives Harry some advice. That was really short.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all the other questions. That I
Yeah,
have.
the specifics come up later.
Yeah.
Nice.
This was one of the first lines that I want to talk about. But it says, Harry, despite the fact... Wes, hey, relax. Despite the fact that he had spent every waking moment of the past few days hoping desperately that Dumbledore would indeed come to fetch him, Harry felt distinctly awkward as they set off down Privet Drive together. He had never had a proper conversation with his headmaster outside of Hogwarts before. There was usually a desk between them. Do you find this odd? And then on top of that, if you had Dumbledore in a room, what would be the first question that you would ask him on anything?
Like right now?
Mm-hmm. Like if Dumbledore was here in this room with us right now, what are you asking him? What's the first thing you're asking him?
I mean, my mind just goes back to the history of things, and I want to find out about 1945. Even though there might be books on that.
With his famous duel.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like, yeah, there's a lot about his past that I would want to know. In the moment, I would pick his brain about multiple questions about how to defeat Voldemort. Harry doesn't know. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't know anything. So if I was in Harry's shoes, I'd be saying, how are we going to defeat Voldemort? That would be the first question. And then whatever he says, I would just like keep prodding more and more, because it's like, look, you are literally the best wizard in the world. Maybe whoever even lived, you must have a plan. What do we need to do?
Yeah.
Like, tell me how I can help. Like, you're the general, send me on a mission. And Harry's just kind of like, yeah, Burrow and school. And like, it just feels like, yeah, if I had this kind of
Feels
access
like
to
a
him, I'd be much
teenager.
more
For sure,
like,
but you
mission
are
time.
You are 32.
Yeah,
and
that's a different
Harry
mindset.
Is 16.
So true.
So you're double his age, but
It feels like there's no urgency to
I know,
the-
I don't know
sure.
why I'm laughing.
But you know what? Honestly, that's probably great. He can just stay innocent, and
I know.
Dumbledore's okay with it too.
yeah, it's worked to this point.
You're old, Danny.
Oh, big time! I embrace
Old.
it. Some days I feel double as old as I actually am.
Ditto.
Actually, that's kind of rare,
Sorry, I was
but
making
I like
fun of
being
this
old.
one.
It's the best.
You're double his
I'm
age.
the youngest here.
Yeah. Yep.
Jen, what was the first question?
But barely, first of all.
No, 9 days.
By
matters.
9 days, I know.
Yeah, you too. Whatever.
Jen, what would you ask Dumbledore if you could ask him any question? If he was in the room with us.
Like right now in the story too.
Yeah, it could be something in the story. It could be just something like superficial. Like, tell me about the most powerful curse that you ever used. Like,
Yeah,
If
I
you
was
just
gonna
wanted-
ask him about ancient magic.
yeah.
Like, what is that, and what does that look like, and what are those different spells? I don't know. Not that he maybe even knows himself.
Yeah.
But why are they so ancient? And why doesn't Voldemort know them?
Oof. Oh, man. Do you think that there are some ancient spells that Voldemort does know? That he's using to his
Yeah.
own
Well, now he
advantage?
knows because
Definitely.
he said that he wasn't expecting to encounter ancient magic, and then Dumbledore surprised him with Harry's mom. I don't know, the mom thing, or
Yeah.
Harry's love spell, whatever that is.
I wonder who Voldemort's ancient consultant is. Because, you know what? Actually,
Nicholas Flamel.
maybe it is. Maybe Voldemort's a better student than I think he is. But I don't picture him as a library guy doing what Hermione is doing to really get to the bottom of some of this stuff that he's learning. Like, who's the one in his circle who's like, yo, Voldemort, I found an ancient scroll in
Is
the basement.
Dumbledore pureblood?
I think so. But I don't know.
Sorry, I just totally cut you off, but I was just thinking it, and I
That's a great
figured
question.
What do you
before
think?
you,
Do you
kept
think of him
talking
as a
that I would forget.
I think he is, because otherwise I feel like Horace would have mentioned him in the Muggle-born little mini rant. he
The only
had.
thing is, Lord Voldemort is the Dark Lord is Muggleborn.
Yeah, but his official story is that he isn't, right?
That he tells people.
Does he? I actually don't remember, because in the graveyard he was monologuing to everybody.
I'm
Didn't he
like-
kind of spill the
Yeah, but I
insight?
feel like
He is a half-blood. It's
Yeah,
in the
half-
graveyard. It was kind of established he was a half-blood, not a Muggle-born.
what does that mean though?
A Muggle-born is two non-magical
Oh.
parents. We
So
don't use the other M
same
word in this
thing.
podcast.
No, it's not the same thing.
Mm-mm. It's Muggle-born.
But they're not pure.
They're not pure
Not
blood.
pure, not pure. Yeah,
One of them is magic. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
but he's not a prince though.
I don't know genetics for magic though, because Harry is still a half-blood. He's not a pure blood, but he comes from two wizarding parents. But his mom was a Muggle-born, so I guess it's like he's 75%
Muggle.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
magic
Not-
and
I mean-
25%. I don't know. I was terrible at that lesson in high school in genetics. Or
Right.
whatever it was. But-
With those little charts with the 4
Yeah.
and the recessive and dominant gene. Yeah.
Do you think so? Wait, Danny, you also mentioned that you don't think that Voldemort would be like a book smart kind of person. What kind of student do you think he was? And do you think he was out there seeking Do you think he showed signs of like evilness as a student at Hogwarts?
Big time. Yeah, I think he showed those signs early.
We saw it with Hagrid, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
exactly.
creature or whatever.
I think it was that, and even like similar things for way back. I
He
think
was
there
like
were people who picked up on that. What was he?
I was waiting. I feel like he was a very like brilliant bully. Like he had the book smart, so he didn't have to lean into bullying as like his personality. But I think he was both.
So
That
yeah,
makes
that's a
sense.
great point. Here's another even side question off of that. They taught the unforgivable spells in their 4th year. Do you think that there are some kinds of magic that they cannot teach at Hogwarts? I think I asked that a while ago.
After Lord
Mhm.
Voldemort came to power, or before?
Even
Even before. Like, is there something that they're not teaching, but like maybe Hermione found something in the restricted section? I remember we were talking about this with censorship, and I think you said something about the atomic bomb or something like that. There should be instructions for how to make an atomic bomb, but is there something in the restricted section that is like I don't know, like the Hermione might have stumbled across and like closed it immediately because it's that dark of magic? Would they have that, or is that the unforgivable curses?
I think no. The unforgivable curses, they felt big to us when we heard them, and I still think they are big in some ways. Like you learn about murder in school when you're in like elementary school. You're like, what? You don't even understand, but you're like murder, and that's still like about as bad as it gets. But there can still be like genocide and these like bigger and badder things you learn about. I feel like the unforgivable curses are still 5th year things you learn about, but there must be bigger and badder things that are in the restricted section. And my theory is there are even bigger and even badder things that used to be in a library or restricted section or super restricted section that doesn't even, it's in Dumbledore's office locked away.
Yeah.
Or in Moody's 7-layer box case, whatever it is, or things that like they had to destroy. They just said, you know what, this is too powerful. Because we're just seeing so much crazy magic that I feel like at some point there must have been something too powerful that they destroyed. And I bet there are different opinions in different schools, and different even forms of magic. Like Wagadoo is a little out of the realm of the book so far, but we know Durmstrang. They teach dark magic. So they're diving deeper into things that Hogwarts does not dive deep into. So I bet they're learning things that are just a little bit like, this is questionable, or it requires certain sacrifices, or it's a little more extreme. It's like, I don't know. I could imagine they teach things at Durmstrang that Dumbledore would not quite approve of.
Yeah. And there's clear delineations too between students. Like there's this line in the series that Dumbledore just shows how much more of a superior wizard he is. It says, "Keep your wand at the ready, Harry," he said brightly. "But I thought I'm not allowed to use magic outside school, sir." "If there is an attack," said Dumbledore, "I give you permission to use any counterjinx or curse that might occur to you. However, I do not think you need to worry about being attacked tonight." "Why not, sir?" "You are with me," Dumbledore said simply. Do you think he's arrogant to say that?
No, I think he's just being honest.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was very honest, although they're kind of like opposites. He's like, pull your wand out. Why? Because you might need it. Well, you won't need it, though, because you're with me. I'm like, well, does he need it or does he not need it? Dumbledore's just being honest. Bring it out as a backup plan. You never know. Just be prepared. He's trying to teach good habits to Harry, but he's also saying, but honestly, you're with me. You're not going to need it. And if I can't take care of it, you're probably already dead. So
do you feel that Dumbledore... Okay, this may sound like a weird question. Do you feel like he's dragging him around almost as a lucky charm? Because Harry's record against Voldemort right now is perfect. Does Dumbledore see that? And is he going to be like, oh, I'm with Harry, so I don't really have to worry about this anymore?
Harry's the safety net.
That
for sure.
Slughorn was
He's
the
my
one that
insurance
shows
policy.
off.
I know, yeah.
He was showing
Yeah.
Harry off to Slughorn. Like he said, Slughorn fell into the trap perfectly.
Yeah.
Slughorn collects people, and Dumbledore knows that, and he wants Slughorn to collect Harry.
Yeah.
That's another thing to just taunt them. It's perfect.
Is it bad that Dumbledore did that without telling Harry how he was going to do it? Should Dumbledore have given him a briefing before he went to
He
Slughorn?
never does.
Yeah, he
I
never
know.
does.
It may not
This
have
is
gone
more
as
of a briefing
smooth,
than
though.
normal.
Yeah, for sure.
So
It probably
true.
wouldn't have gone that smooth, but still, there's like a different level of trust that they already have in this book,
Hmm.
and you're like Dumbledore. You have it, even though it might not go as good. But I just don't think Dumbledore wants to flirt with that idea. I think it
Yeah,
went
you're right.
perfectly.
You're right.
Exactly how he planned. He even said to Molly later, it took us a
It
lot
was even
quicker.
better than he
Yeah.
imagined. And I don't know what his other plan was to like draw this night out longer and come back in the morning. He wanted Harry to pull an all-nighter with Horace,
Yeah.
just like trying to
I
figure this
know.
out, and then eventually
I know.
Dumbledore's like in the bathroom. I'm still struggling, guys. Keep talking. Like it just felt weird. Like they really were just gonna talk all night long,
Yeah.
or was he gonna get Horace drunk till he agreed to it? You know, like I'm not sure. I did at the end of the chapter think Dumbledore was a little bit more manipulative than I would have liked, but he got the job done. And if we grow to hate Horace by the end of this book, then I'll be annoyed at Dumbledore for doing it this way. But so far, I'm like, you know what? It worked out. He played him like a fiddle,
Yeah,
for good or bad.
I know. If there was your top 3 people that you'd feel safe around in these books so far, who would it be? Like if you were in their presence, you wouldn't really have to worry.
Dumbledore,
Nice. Same.
Lupin. I
Lupin.
feel like he would be good. A third one, I don't know.
To me, McGonagall is
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
up there.
I forgot about her. I'm thinking of
she'd
the
be
Order of the
fierce.
Phoenix.
Yeah, because I could see like that side
Although
of her
she got
coming out.
attacked pretty bad.
Yep.
So is she?
But she was still playing by the
recovered?
rules though,
Hmm.
and they were not.
Mm.
So I hope-
True.
wait, do we ever see justice for that? I hope they're getting thrown in Azkaban.
Doesn't even exist.
There is justice, especially now that Dumbledore is the head chieftain of the Wizengamot. What's he? Something chief?
Yeah, he's
Some-
reinstated Chief
I
Warlock.
like
of
how
the
you
Chief
league.
ask
Warlock.
us. Like we know you're the one writing down everything.
But to be honest, Horace would probably be on my list higher than Lupin. Again, age matters to me, and the
That's someone
fact
you
that-
feel safe around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so.
Already, you don't even know him.
Well, you know, yeah, but you know
What the
what?
heck, Danny?
He seems
Thank you.
he's thinking outside the
my
box.
side.
The whole like thing he did with Dumbledore with the blood on the
Yeah,
walls
he
or
did it in
whatever.
2 minutes, too.
Like that's thinking outside the box. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like even Dumbledore is so powerful, he would face people head on. He would play like mind games potentially, but we've never seen him be this I don't know.
Turn into a couch.
Sneaky. Yeah, it's like funny, right? But like I also feel like it's a smart move. So I think of him as
That's a
being a
smart
very good
move.
wizard.
That's to me. That's a smart move if you don't have the power. Dumbledore
oh,
literally
okay.
could just stand there and be like, "Yeah, come,"
Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
because
Fair.
you know I'm going to beat you. But Horace is not up to that caliber, and he has to hide as a cow.
And it's about self-preservation. If you're
Yep.
with him,
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to hide you. He's
That's
going to hide
all-
like,
himself.
would he
You're
be
gonna be
loyal
in
to
his
you?
belly
Would he-
on
I
the
know.
couch.
In his belly.
Get in my belly.
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it.
I love
She's
this.
gone.
Is that Austin Powers, right?
Yeah.
I thought so.
But I do think of him as being a better wizard than Lupin.
That is a hot take, Danny.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I disagree.
Here's another thing.
Yeah. I just
Dumbledore's
Thank
not
you.
asking Lupin to come back and teach class. You know what I mean?
Because
he
he
can't.
eats people. He
not?
could eat kids.
I'm not racist. Let
He's a
Lupin
werewolf.
back.
Yeah,
It's
but all
totally
the
fine.
they had a whole
He has a special
uproar.
time
All
of the
the
month.
parents said no.
Yeah, but that's all right. I'm not going to judge someone for a time of the month.
I'm,
It is not judging. It's dangerous.
all right. We see you like those Slytherin guys. So
Well, you know what? I just like Lupin, but like for the same reason. The question is, who would we like feel comfortable with, etc.
you wouldn't feel safe around him.
Around Lupin?
Yeah.
I would, except for what if
Protected.
it's that time of the month? Then you got to duck and cover. You got to go to the shack and hide in the corner while he freaks out.
And send him toward the enemy.
Yeah, run that way, please. No, but I don't know. Like, I'm taking Dumbledore's lead and trusting that Horace is good and good at what he does.
He also put Snape in potions. And we don't know where he
Yeah,
stands.
and he put Lockhart in class.
Yep.
And he's made some questionable decisions. But
Divination.
for whatever reason, Horace feels like he's old magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been around a while. And for me, the people who have been doing it longer are just better at it. It feels like there aren't that many old wizards. They keep getting killed before they make it that long.
Mad
So for
Eye
him to make it
Moody?
this long, John's point is the best one, though, because he's saying, would he care for you or would he
Yeah.
care for himself? Self-preservation.
Yeah.
You're right. I think given the chance, he might betray you.
We'll get to Slughorn in
know.
a second too, because there's a lot of
still
questions that
kinda
you
like
just
him.
raised in that we'll talk about for a second. Do you have any other person that you feel safe around? Like, there's a few for sure.
I like the Weasleys. I just don't think they're quite there as far as wizards. I
Yeah.
feel like they're suburban wizards, maybe. I'm not trying to hate. Love them, of course. I wouldn't put them on the front lines, you know? Who would I feel?
Jen, besides Dumbledore and Lupin, do you have anybody else?
No. I don't know. I mean, that's alive right now.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, I like whoever said McGonagall. That was a good one.
Yeah,
Because I forgot about her because
That
we
is a
haven't
great
seen her
one.
in a while.
Hmm.
and I do kind
Even,
of think.
like-
But
Well, if we were going to go down to like kid level too, I feel like Luna, Ginny, and Hermione, I would want them around.
Killer combo.
yeah,
Yep.
seriously.
So if
Mm-hmm.
those were the adults and then we go kids, then that would be my choice of peers.
Yeah.
I feel like you take Harry for his perfect record, and then Hermione's always been
I
with
thought
Harry
we were
too.
Harry in this
I
scenario.
know, we kind of were. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. But I think you take Hermione as well because she's been beside Harry's side, and that's kind of probably why he's undefeated, because she prepares him for everything. And then Dumbledore is just a given. Just what you
Who
need.
else is out there though?
Well,
I don't
honestly,
know.
Moody-
Kristen, who would you take?
I don't know. Obviously, Dumbledore. I liked McGonagall.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I was trying to think of other people, and I can't think of anyone else.
I know it's tough. I feel like McGonagall is criminally underrated in some of these books. Like, she's not talked about of how good she is. Honestly, I feel like Flitwick is good too. He was a dueling champ. I think they mentioned that in like the second book or something like that.
I don't
He
remember
was-
who this
He was
is.
pretty good. Flitwick's her charms teacher. The little
Okay.
guy in the movies.
Got it.
It's kind of cute.
Hmm.
Here is another line that we got to talk about. So tell me, Harry, said Dumbledore. Your scar, has it been hurt? Has it been hurting at all? Harry raised his hand unconsciously to his forehead and rubbed the lightning-shaped mark. No, he said, and I've been wondering about that. I thought it would be burning all the time now Voldemort's getting so powerful again. He glanced up at Dumbledore and saw that he was wearing a satisfied expression. I, on the other hand, thought otherwise, said Dumbledore. Lord Voldemort has finally realized the dangerous access to his thoughts and feelings you have been enjoying. It appears that he is now employing occlumency against you. What do you think of that? Do you think the Dark Lord is smart for employing occlumency against Harry?
Yeah, because Harry was
Yeah.
accidentally seeing his plans or who he was attacking,
Mm-hmm.
and now he doesn't have the connection / can't save people. I feel like.
Yeah. He could still drive Harry nuts if he wanted to, though. Just kind of pester him, make him have nightmares, be annoying. But as far as, like, actually... Well, he might be afraid that Harry will actually start paying attention and doing his homework and learning from Dumbledore or Snape and fighting back, maybe? So, yeah, it seems kind of smart, but also a tad premature.
Yeah.
But maybe he did test the waters in ways we don't know, and he's like, nope, Harry's getting too aware.
Do you
The
feel... Go ahead.
The only thing is, he doesn't know that he knows the prophecy, because this would be a perfect time for him to enter his mind.
Yeah, you're right. If he could pull that out. I don't know how it works from a distance, but that's a good point.
So it's kind of dumb,
Yeah.
but it's good in our favor.
Yeah, and we also don't know what Voldemort is really up to, so there might be things that he's doing that he really needs to shield Harry from because he doesn't want the plan to escape, and maybe there are like sensitive things going on. So if he's trying to keep secrecy, he might just say it's not worth the risk. Let me close that door.
Do you feel like Harry would go on the offensive and he would learn legitimacy and purposefully try to invade Voldemort's mind? And do you think Voldemort would be able to stop him if he wanted to?
I think that is a Harry thing to do,
Hmm.
but Harry loves things he can touch and feel and like throw and break. He wants to like be in the real world. I don't think mental things are his strong suit. So, again, no offense to
I
Harry.
don't think that's true.
You think he's a little more mentally strong than I do?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because
'Cause in
he
some
was
ways he is,
able
yeah.
to do. Remember the class where Mad-Eye Moody was
Yep,
testing
he was
them?
able to resist the
He was
Imperius.
finally able to
Yeah.
resist it.
That's a good point.
And when he was dueling with Voldemort,
It was all in his mind.
yeah,
I think you're right. In those moments,
I think he's
really
like
stepped up.
naturally good at it, or it's coming from Voldemort because it's not like he's trying to do it. It's just
Yeah.
like coming to him. So that's where the thing. I don't think he knows how to use it yet. But
What do you
if
mean
he
it's coming
figured
from
that,
Voldemort?
well, their connection
Oh, okay.
that we were kind of
Oh, like it
Yeah.
wasn't Harry is so good at it. It's more just like because of their connection,
Like
it was
Vol-
happening naturally.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I know. what you mean.
Or either or. I'm saying either he's just naturally good at it and he needs to like learn how to do it on command, like be taught how to use it, or it's because Voldemort's connection with him and he's getting some of his power and he can do that.
Maybe he doesn't feel that consistent to me because he's done so well in
Yeah,
those
because
key
it's
moments.
Not.
But then the other moments where I'm like, oh, Harry, you're missing it.
But
Or
he's
he just doesn't
also
seem
a
that
teenager.
disciplined.
He's like learning.
Yeah, but that's why I think I'm like it would be too risky for him to try
keeps
anything with
thinking that
Voldemort. I'm like,
he's
you're not
your
ready yet,
age.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, just keep your distance from Voldemort. You're really not ready to take him on.
But that's crazy. He's not ready to take him on, but he's been
He's
successful.
But he's done it
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of times
He's
successfully.
undefeated.
So, with
But in his words to
Dumbledore's
Dumbledore's
power?
army, he was like, "It's not me, it's luck, and everyone's been helping me, and whatever."
Yeah.
Um,
And he was right in that moment, but at the same time, he's not.
But-
There's something
yeah.
beyond like that. There's ancient magic that's going on.
but at a certain point, you can't deny it. You know what I mean? He's 4-0 or something, so he's doing pretty well against Voldemort. But it still seems a little aggressive for him to think he could try and invade his mind.
because Dumbledore kind of makes it clear to not do anything rash at the very, very end of the
Mhm.
next chapter, or at the beginning of the next chapter. But Harry kind of seems invincible, not exactly invincible, but Dumbledore seems frailer and frailer. It seems every chapter, especially with his hand. What has happened to his hand?
I thought it was something with Voldemort, but based on the discussion in this chapter, it doesn't feel like Voldemort anymore. Actually, it feels like something that happened between what happened at the Ministry and now. Did you get that impression?
I know.
It
Well,
only came
because
up
he said it
quickly
was.
in here.
He's like, I don't have enough time to tell this
Yeah,
tale
like
that
it was a whole
deserves.
tale. I'm like, it would be nice and simple if he was just like, oh yeah, at the Ministry that night. Remember?
But I feel like he would have also noticed that he was.
If it was yes.
He got injured that night.
So now I'm
like,
like, oh, this is something else. Dumbledore's off doing
But maybe
adventures here.
he's trying different ancient magic on his own so he could teach Harry, and it like backfired on him.
Could be. How would he do this ancient magic? Is this in the dungeons of Hogwarts, or is he off in the tombs of Egypt finding ancient
Exactly.
magic?
Yeah.
Hanging
Never
with
know.
Nicholas Flamel.
He's in the
So
cave
what's the- what is
with the giants,
what's the
with
purpose
the
of finding
wand.
this ancient if it, like is what is he trying to accomplish by doing this?
By doing ancient magic.
Yeah, like why would his hand be severed if he's trying to do this kind of stuff?
Because it's dangerous, which is why it's ancient.
Ancient.
And it's in the restricted area. And he's like, hey, I'm the most powerful wizard, so let me take a gamble at this.
I'm wondering if he's trying to do what Voldemort did and bring things like back, like
What would
killing
he
part of
bring
himself
back?
and bring back his own hand.
Ew.
Like, because we know Voldemort regrew Wormtail's hand.
Wow.
So what if it's like that kind of thing? Like he's like, wow, Voldemort can regrow people's limbs and make them more powerful than before. I'm assuming because it's silver and cool. Then
He's
what
not
if
using it
what
for
if Dumbledore's
anything.
trying to do that on himself? Yeah, and he's like, oh man, Voldemort might actually know more about this than me. And then he's like, he kills his own hand to try and bring it back. Because Voldemort was a worm human.
Watch your Ray and
So,
I'm like,
well, no, I'm just saying, like, in that realm of like the ancient magic or whatever else, like Dumbledore might be testing some of these things and saying, like, if I kill my hand, can I bring it back? Can I do whatever? And he was able to bring it back to be functional, but not quite as good. But it's also weird because Horace saw it and said, you're not as fast as you once were.
Yeah.
So that kind of blows away the theories of ancient magic, Dumbledore on a secret mission.
Why?
Because it's more about Horace saw
Might
that
be
and
timing.
knew, you weren't quick enough. So it was like, it almost is like Horace already knows what Dumbledore did. Like
Like
oh,
a
you were
creature.
facing the Snarfblat. I have to reference The Little Mermaid every once in a while because I love that movie. So he's facing
And
some
we
ancient
won't go
critter.
see
That's the
it.
point. Off in the
'Cause-
mountains or in the depths of a deep cave in Thailand, and then he fights something, and then Horace is like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I tried to milk that critter in the depths of the the cave over there. You know, if you're not quick enough, it'll zap you."
Yeah, but maybe. Oh, so maybe it's a creature that attacked him when he was trying to get an ingredient for the potion that he's going to teach the ancient magic to
Yeah,
Harry.
like just along
Got
those
it.
lines of like, I don't know what the thing is, but something along those lines. Yeah, like Dumbledore had a mission, and something about this mission was enough known to Horace that he was like, "Oh yeah, you messed up. You weren't quick enough."
Because
or it's a
the-
common thing, maybe. I don't know.
Is
Whatever
it a
this
dragon
is,
injury?
it's destroying even like gold rings that Dumbledore is wearing. Because there's this note here. He says he shrugged and he spread his hands wide as though to say that age had its compensations. And Harry noticed a ring in his uninjured hand that he had never seen Dumbledore wear before. It was rather large and rather clumsily made of what looked like gold, and was set with a heavy black stone that had a crack down the middle. Slughorn's eyes lingered for a moment on the ring too, and Harry saw a tiny frown momentarily crease his wide forehead. So you're like, whatever is happening with his hand, maybe the ring was on his hand and he's transferring it to the other hand or something like that, because it was like whatever happened with his hand was enough to destroy other parts on his body. Like, it's not just his hand. So you're curious what the heck is going on here, you know?
Yep. What's the ring? What's the black stone?
Yeah.
I thought of the black stone as protecting his one hand, but not the other.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
the ring almost took the heat. It was like that's what was the what absorbed some of whatever backlash
But
there
Harry
was.
never noticed it before.
Yeah, oh yeah, this ring was not on before. Well, we're trusting
don't
Harry
know,
in
yeah.
this. Yeah. They could have made a tiny invisibility cloak for the ring that Dumbledore was wearing this whole time.
Oh, that would be so cute.
A little cute,
really
little
cute.
invisibility cloak.
Teeny tiny one.
But we're assuming it's kind of new, so I'm assuming Dumbledore put it on for protection with whatever he was doing.
Maybe he was testing the ring.
That's also possible. What is this stone? Yeah. What are black stones? Is onyx black? And something
I think Onyx
tight,
is black, yeah.
something with that volcanic stuff. I can't think of it. And obsidian.
Yeah. Game of Thrones, they had something like that dragon stone or whatever it was. It's
Nice.
not definitely not that, probably. Maybe, you never know.
Could be. Could
Definitely not. And then it gets taken back so much. Maybe it is.
be.
Here
Yes, I don't
is-
know.
Yeah, we'll talk about that line too in a second too, but there's another one. It says, "Sir, I got a Ministry of Magic leaflet by Owl about security measures we should all take against Death Eaters." "Yes, I received one myself," said Dumbledore, still smiling. "Did you find it useful?" "Not really. No, I thought not. You have not asked me, for instance, what is my favorite flavor of jam? To check that I am indeed Professor Dumbledore and not an imposter." "I didn't," Harry began, not entirely sure he was being whether he was being reprimanded or not. "For future reference, Harry, it is raspberry. Although, of course, if I were a Death Eater, I would have been sure to research my own jam preferences before impersonating myself." So what's your favorite flavor of jam?
I like jam.
Seedless black raspberry
did
for
you say?
sure.
I
Ooh,
don't like
seedless
jam.
black raspberry.
Oh yeah, big
Black
time.
raspberry is so good, yum.
But seedless black raspberry.
Of course, I don't want those
Blackberry?
chunkies
Oh, that's
in there.
because he's particular about his fruits.
I don't like slimy fruit, but if it's in jam form, you know what I mean? I'm down.
I don't know why that's such a weird phrase every time you say it.
Because you have to like think through like, isn't fruit always slimy?
Yeah.
Or is it not? Well, I'm like, you know what? I like a good apple crunch. But you
Yeah,
throw that
yeah,
thing
yeah.
in the oven and you make it slimy and then you slap it on some bread. And I'm like, don't you give me that apple pie. I don't want none of it.
Oh, it's like the best. It's the best kind
So you
of
like
fruit.
uncooked apple pie?
Yeah, I call them apples. No,
So you just like apples?
Literally, apples, throw peanut butter, I'm totally down. But then apple pie, I'm like, ugh,
Yum.
crumble, whatever. But you know
With
what? I like
a la
apple
mode,
sauce.
Yum.
Different.
That's slimy.
But it's not as slimy. Apple sauce isn't slimy.
more-
Apple pie is.
Yeah, I kind
You
of
know?
get that. Now
Um,
everyone's gonna know. Anytime someone comes in and impersonates Danny, they're gonna know.
They're
give us
gonna
this-
know
They're gonna
my
give us this
favorite
whole
jam.
rant, and we're gonna think it's Danny.
Wow, what questions would we ask each other to know for sure?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's pretty intense.
Wait,
Well, they
what?
have to be
It's
so
pretty
secret.
funny.
We can't say it obviously
I
on
know
the pod for
sure, yeah.
everybody, but
Yeah.
that is a curious question.
Anytime you guys come into my apartment door now, I'm gonna have to
we
ask
have
you
to
that
do the
question.
exchange. But I feel like with the people that are closest to me, I could be wrong, but I imagine I would pick up pretty quickly if it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever gotten a text? I'm thinking of back in high school. This happened a few times. Somebody would steal someone else's phone and send a text pretending to be them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you could pick up on it immediately. Be like, who has your phone? You know, like, who is this? Because even via text message, it is hard to impersonate a person.
yeah, for sure.
You know, like, it's just there are a lot of really unique subtleties
yeah.
and nuances to a person.
although
But
it's,
if you studied someone,
yeah, exactly.
To prepare, if you had them in a box while you were polyjuicing. Yeah.
One of those moments went really good for me when someone stole my phone and texted, and it was Freddie. We were all playing ping pong in his basement
Ooh,
one night. It was
nice.
like a big group of us. And I think you were there. And I was in the middle of playing someone, and Freddie was like, "Hey, your mom texted you," and I was like, "Oh, just text her back." And my family, like, we would just express "I love you" in person. We weren't really text it. Everything was like to business. But he texted this long thing. I was like, just say this, this, and this. And then I finished. And then he's like, I'm going to say I love you too. And he texted I love you. And now it's like, I text my mom I love you after every text message now.
That
I'm
is
like,
so
that's because Freddie
funny.
did that.
Oh
I'm going to do
my
that now. I was like, that was a
goodness.
great idea. Like,
That.
sparked my mind.
Like, why
but-
not? Yeah, just a quick reminder. How could that ever be bad? That's so great.
I know. So it changed me. It was
Mm.
great. But what's your guys' favorite jam flavor?
I don't like jam.
Justin, why don't you like
Come on.
jam? You
I
don't
don't-
like slimy
I've
fruit
not-
or what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never, because like you put it on toast, and I'd rather just have butter.
You just go
Oh.
butter on toast.
But you can
Yeah.
do butter and jam, though, and
Nice.
it's delicious.
Wait,
no,
nothing else. Just
jam
straight
goes
butter?
on crackers
butter.
with cheese,
Oh,
like
yeah,
brie.
seriously, a
Ooh,
good
fig
Oh.
jam with
See,
brie.
good
like I was
apple
never
jam.
a big
Figs,
peanut butter and jelly
yum.
fan because like I don't like jelly.
Oh, my gosh.
Jam.
I used to not like jelly either.
What'd you
Really?
get for lunch? And did you
Now
throw it in
I
the
love it.
garbage like John?
That was a whole other story. That was...
It is funny how many of our
Anyone
secret stories
had on this?
have slipped
I know,
out during the
people can
pod.
impersonate
I'm
us
like,
actually pretty
shoot,
well,
people
yeah.
actually would
Yeah.
know
Podcast.
a lot about me if they've listened to episodes. And some of our people are
Especially
really
you.
I
observant.
know.
Yeah.
People like knew you guys were engaged before we
Yeah,
even
they're like,
announced
remember
it.
that conversation?
I know.
Oh man, people are, they're good. They're good. So some of our fans could definitely impersonate us, and that would be awesome.
There's a jam that Trader Joe's just had, blueberry jam. And it's I just got it last week, and it's the best jam that I've ever had. Or
Really?
not like also like name brand jam.
Right. That you know you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get consistently.
Like
yeah.
one of my friends in college would make blueberry jam, and it was the best I've ever had. But this is
Whoa.
like just a one I can get in a store that it's so good. It is so good. Love it.
I'll have to try it again because I haven't
Yeah,
tried.
come
it.
on,
Come on.
Jen. You're mentioning a bunch of jams over here, but you
Yeah.
haven't said what
Yeah,
your
because I
favorite
love
one
them
is yet.
all. But I like fig jam. I
Ooh.
like
Taking them all from
Fig jam is
blackberry
great.
Mm.
with the seeds.
See, I like
love
seeds in it, too.
strawberry. I love.
I like a little crunch.
I'm trying to think. I had a fig one that was so good lately. That's why I'm thinking of it.
And I like when it's stuck in your teeth, the seeds, and you can kind of like pick at
Yeah,
them
'cause
for
it's
like
like
extra
real
flavor later in the
fruit.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Peach is good
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah, that
peach.
sounds so much fun.
Orange marmalade.
So
Be like,
Jen's
"Get me
answer to that question
floss."
would be okay. Orange marmalade, fig jam, apple jam, peach. Jen, you like all the jams.
I love them.
If someone comes in and
And
they're
if you put it
impersonating
on
jam,
brie,
yeah.
brie, a warm brie on
Oh.
a cracker with any of those jams. Yum. Yum.
it is
Yum.
incredible.
See,
Now I'm
balances
really
that out.
hungry.
Yeah,
What?
You
No,
seriously.
I
like
should've
them all?
gotten
I don't
that.
like jam. Healthy balance.
It is
But-
interesting to ask what questions we would ask each other to truly know that we were the other person.
Well,
We were the
what
correct
genre
person.
of books does John like? Depressing.
Everyone knows
Kristen,
that.
what kind of
Take
books?
one look at John. You know that one.
Rom-coms. Danny doesn't read, and neither do I, so I don't know what you'd ask us. No, all right.
I know,
Everyone
we got to think of that.
knows.
We'll think of that for the next podcast because maybe this will come
Oh
up
my
again.
gosh, you just topped that off. What?
wasn't that
Yeah, there was barely any
We're
left.
sharing.
How about this one? We now know what inferi are.
Ugh.
Well, on that leaflet, it said something about inferi. What exactly are they? The leaflet wasn't very clear. They are corpses, said Dumbledore calmly. Dead bodies that have been bewitched to do a dark wizard's bidding. Inferi have not been seen for a long time. However, not since Voldemort was last powerful. He killed enough people to make an army of them, of course. This is the place, Harry, just here. What are your thoughts on these little creatures?
It didn't
Little
occur to me
creatures.
till you just said it right now. Are these the
They're-
dudes that are in the game the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh
Inferi.
my goodness.
Yeah,
that
that was
is
the
so
one
weird. I
spoiler in
fought
the
like
game.
hundreds of these
I know.
things. I literally did not connect that till right now because it was such a different brain space.
Are they basically
Wow.
zombies?
Yeah,
Well,
pretty
in the
much.
game, they're zombie-esque, but a little bit more like, I think of them as skeletons almost. Like, they reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean in the game, where
Yeah.
like
Okay.
they're
A
kind of
little bit
like,
like that.
skeletons, a little flesh hanging off.
Yeah.
But maybe they're more zombie-esque. I don't know. Wow, that is so weird. Okay, it's all coming together. Nope, the game's different. I'm ignoring it all. That's creepy.
But it could be people that he killed that are not on the dark side. This is just anyone.
Anyone he's killed.
It could be like, yeah, it could be the people he's recently killed. Like Tom, the housekeeper, could be in this. What was his name?
Oh gosh.
Like he could be using him as a reanimated body.
Wait, who? Frank?
Yeah, Frank Bryce, not Tom. Yeah, sorry.
Tom, his father. Oof. Well, that'd be
Yeah.
so weird
Ew.
because he could literally use people you love to fight you.
This is like another Lord of the Rings reference we make every time when they release the prisoners and it's the heads. They catapult the heads over the walls,
Oof.
guys. Great
To
movies.
mess with them.
I know.
Oof.
I'm gonna
I
know
don't
the
remember
movie before
that.
I even see them.
Like, oh, I remember this part. You never
I have
saw
to
it before.
rewatch it.
They're weird creatures for sure.
I'm wondering, because creatures is more what I was thinking Fudge's army is made up of, but he wouldn't do
I
Inferi.
thought
That's
they
too
were
much.
house elves.
Could be. No. It's not an army. If he's got a private army, it has to be like large. And we already know. Oh, never mind. I was going to say Hogwarts has the biggest collection of house elves in Great Britain, but Fudge might have a house elsewhere outside of Great Britain with more
Nice.
house elves. A house elf army.
Fudge is shady for sure.
Yeah, he's shady. We're going to find out more, but I hope it's not house elves or Inferi, and I hope he's good and doesn't fight against us.
So here's two other lines too we'll talk about for Horace Slughorn. This is kind of the initial impression. Harry's jaw dropped. Where a split second before there had been an armchair, there now crouched an enormously fat, bald old man who was massaging his lower belly and squinting up at Dumbledore with an aggrieved and watery eye. There was no need to stick in the wand that hard, he said gruffly, clambering to his feet. It hurt. And later, he set the bottle back on the sideboard and sighed. It was then that his gaze fell upon Harry. "Oh-ho," he said, his large round eyes flying to Harry's forehead and the lightning-shaped scar it bore. "Oh-ho. This," said Dumbledore, moving forward to make the introduction, "is Harry Potter. Harry Potter, this is an old friend and colleague of mine, Horace Slughorn." I asked you this before, but what is your initial impression of Slughorn here?
Clever.
Yeah.
I did think that. I was like, He threw off Dumbledore. Dumbledore played it cool. Oh, I knew right away there was no dark mark above the house. But Dumbledore did say something horrible has happened here.
Was he being sarcastic though?
I don't know, but
Because I questioned him bringing Harry into it. If it really was that bad.
if
Yeah.
it was actually dangerous, he's like, "Yep, let's keep walking through there." I don't know, but Dumbledore is confident all the same. But like he says, "Not pretty, is it?" Question mark. Like he's asking Harry. So it's also possible he's so confident and immediately knew what this was and wanted to like help Harry learn that just because something looks scary doesn't mean it is. It's possible, but it made me think it actually might have thrown Dumbledore off for a little bit. But it could be either way. Maybe Dumbledore knew right away. He was like, no dark mark, whatever. Harry, what do you think? Looks pretty scary, huh? And it was just a learning experience for Harry. Maybe it's more up to how I view Dumbledore than the actual situation because we don't have that much information. He did poke him pretty quick,
Yeah.
which is hilarious.
I read certain lines now and I just laugh because of you two guys. The line.
Laughing at that line. I was like,
Yeah, you were just giggling at that line.
You heard me.
There was no need to stick the wand
I
in
was
that
waiting
already,
for
you said
someone
gruffly.
else too, so I didn't have to
Right.
giggle first. Stick-
Because Slughorn has good and bad moments. And this whole chapter, I feel like you're flirting between the two. Initially, you're like, he seems to single out Harry and he's like collecting him. That's weird. But then he has this line where he's like, he's talking about how he would never come back because he's heard about Dolores Umbridge and how they treat her. And he's like, is this how you treat your teachers all the time? I would never come back. But then the line, Professor Umbridge ran afoul of our centaur herd, said Dumbledore. I think you, Horace, would have known better to stride in the forest and call a horde of angry centaurs filthy half-breeds. That's what she did she? Said Slughorn. Idiotic woman. Never liked her. Harry chuckled and both Dumbledore and Slughorn looked around at him. Sorry, Harry said hastily. It's just, I didn't like her either. It's like a great little moment there. And I feel like in such a short amount of time, you get to know who Slughorn is pretty well. Not like very, very well. Like you haven't spent a lot of time with him, but in just a short description of like how he communicates and talks to people. But it changes your perception of certain things. And I have a lot of questions about him in a second. But like even the idea that he's a Slytherin and he was the head of Slytherin House, but he's not detestable. He still like seems to fight for things and like things that normal Slytherins that we've met so far don't like, and we wouldn't like him at all.
And he liked people that we like
Like
Harry's parents. It's a good start.
Yeah, exactly. And this is I'm going to use this line as like a throwaway line because this is like a funny line. When I was reading this, it was funny because we were talking about butts the other day. Dumbledore across the room.
The other day.
Dumbledore across the room. Once the door had closed behind him, there was silence. After a few moments, Slughorn got to his feet, but seemed uncertain what to do with himself. He shot a furtive look at Harry and then strode to the fire and turned his back on it, warming his wide behind. I mean, how loud how loud would his apparate crack be?
His
Loud.
apparate crack.
Kaplunk.
Kerplunk.
Elaborate crack.
But even to me, even this description shows like it's almost endearing.
He's got a huge
He
crack.
stands up and he's alone with a student and he doesn't really know what to do. He's awkward. And then he goes by the fire and warms his butt by the fire. Like even that description. I'm not getting this description of like Malfoy or any of the Malfoys that go
you're
before
right.
a fire and they're like unsure what to do with themselves. So they like warm their butt by a fire. But it's like endearing. This guy's like literally sitting there having a conversation with Harry, like sticking his butt into the fire so it gets warmer.
I love how
And
you're
he's not
like
proud.
imitating it. Sitting there,
I have to.
warming his butt in the fire.
I like that he's a little self-deprecating too, talking about all the things going wrong with him. Weak chest, wheezy, rheumatism, can't move like I used
Yeah.
to. Like, and then he's just standing there by the fire with his butt out. Like, it's just kind of like, that's what makes him feel, that vulnerability.
He's relatable.
Yes, it's relatable. It feels like, okay, cool. Like, he's not trying to be, he gets into it a little bit with that, who he knew and, this Quidditch person now and this and that. But in this moment, though, he feels very just, like, real. Like, hey, it
Yeah.
is what it is, you know?
Yeah. And again, you flirt back and forth because here was a line that we were talking about before, but excuse me. Let me get all my burps out before I start reading this. All right, we're good. You look very much like your father. Yeah, I've been told, said Harry. Except for your eyes. You've got my mother's eyes, yeah. Harry had heard it so often he found it a bit wearing. Yes, well, you shouldn't have a favorite as a teacher, of course, but she was one of mine, your mother, Slughorn added. In answer to Harry's questioning look, Lily Evans, one of the best and brightest I ever taught. Vivacious, charming girl. I used to tell her she ought to have been in my house. Very cheeky answers I used to get back, too. Which was your house? I was head of Slytherin, said Slughorn. Oh, now, he went on quickly, seeing the expression on Harry's face and wagging a stubby finger at him. Don't go holding that against me. So even after these facts, what do you think of Slughorn?
I think I was still down. Yeah, just because it felt like Lily, even during James's bully days, Lily was a good person. And it feels like they had that funny rapport. I'm thinking of even in high school, like some of the teachers that we had, you have that certain rapport with teachers, and you don't get that rapport with like bad teachers. You only get that rapport with the teachers that actually want to be friendly and want to like get to know the kids, and you get those little inside jokes. And so he's going back and forth like, oh man, I wish you could be on my team, basically, to Lily, and Lily always has some funny comeback for him. So of course we're only getting one side of the story. Maybe she didn't like it, but from this perspective, it feels like he was actually invested in his students. He cared. He was joking with students and talking to them. He knows the students. And some of the other teachers, well, I'll just say Snape, I don't think would ever be like this.
Yeah.
Maybe he's more like this with his Slytherin people, but yeah, I was like, you know what? This guy seems cool. He was sad that he didn't get Sirius. He was like, oh man, he was a
Yeah, I
Gryffindor.
know.
That would have been great. And again, we like Sirius, so we're like, yeah, he's rooting for the people that we like.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of the biggest questions that I have too for this guy, because this is another line where he goes, "I tell you all of this," Dumbledore continued, not to turn you against Horace, or as we must now call him, Professor Slughorn, but to put you on your guard. He will undoubtedly try to collect you, Harry. You would be the jewel of his collection, the boy who lived, or as I call you these days, the chosen one. If Slughorn is like this, where he's trying to collect students, why does Dumbledore want him back? Why does Dumbledore want him teaching? Why is he going after this guy? Is it because maybe he just has no one else? No one else can fill the role? Why would he want to get Horace Slughorn back into Hogwarts?
Maybe it's better having him at Hogwarts so he can't turn evil.
You think he could turn evil?
No, not really, but I wonder if he could do them like the Imperius? Not the Imperius. What's the one where you take over their...
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the Imperius.
Oh, I was
Crucio
right.
is torture.
Nailed it.
Or he has a skill that Dumbledore needs.
Mm-hmm.
Or access to something.
I'm thinking about Snape. If he was around during Lily, James, and Sirius, it means he was around during Snape. And we can assume Snape was a Slytherin, if he's head of Slytherin now. I'm wondering when he gets to Hogwarts, is he going to be boys with Snape? Like Snape was his main dude? Or were they enemies? So like...
Or you think he could spy on Snape for Dumbledore?
Well, I'm almost thinking if Dumbledore perceives that Snape could be going, to the dark side here, would Dumbledore want some people who are more familiar with Snape around?
Yeah, like a counter spy almost.
Yeah, like, hey, Horace, You know Snape. You can read him well. You saw him as a student. You know his past and
actually
his
fascinating,
history.
yeah.
Can you come here? You're going to be in the teacher's lounge hanging out. Snape loves to explore the hallways at 3 a.m. every night, it seems. Can you just like keep an eye on this boy and see like what he's up to? I need a second pair of eyes. Someone who knows Snape as long as I have, who can kind of give me some extra insight. So I'm just trying to think if there's something along those lines. Either for good or bad, did Horace and Snape get along? Was Snape one of the chosen students? Even if Horace wanted to get Lily, James, or Sirius, it sounds like he didn't get any of them. Did he get Snape at all? Did he want Snape? Or was he like still choosing other people over Snape, and Snape's bitter to this day? I don't know. Maybe they're boys, and maybe they'll like start hanging out again, and we'll be like, oh, this is weird. But he didn't mention it yet. So even if
I
he
didn't
was
even think
boys,
about
he's
that.
not proud of Snape enough to like brag to Harry about it. But maybe he pivoted when he knew that Harry like had that look about Slytherins, and he's like, I better flex about like Quidditch stuff instead of Slytherin stuff.
Yeah. Do you think,
I
what
don't
was
know.
your interpretation on this too? Do you think that Slughorn's secrecy sensors went off and he didn't know who it was, so he just hid immediately? Or did you read it like he was hiding from Dumbledore?
Ooh, interesting. I read it as he didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
The sensor, much like the Sneakoscope or the Remember All or anything else, it's a vague idea of something,
Yeah.
not very specific.
And even if he was hiding from Dumbledore, it might have been just like, he seems like one of the most neutral characters right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it might just be that's his neutrality. He just doesn't want to get involved in a conflict. So he's like hiding from Dumbledore, as in like, I don't even want anything to do with this.
Keep me out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also because we don't know if he's good or bad, he literally could have done bad things already and thought Dumbledore was coming to kill him, and he's just playing a role. Like, oh, whoops, little old me, I thought you were a Death Eater.
And Jen, this is going to be hard to answer, but you mentioned that Slughorn could have something that Dumbledore wants, or like he could know some kind of magic. Could you take any guesses on what something like that would be? Like, what would he have that Dumbledore would want?
The ancient magic or whatever makes you a half-blood prince.
How do you become a half-blood prince?
There's potions where he burned his hand.
Is Dumbledore trying and failing to become a half-blood prince?
Maybe he needs to get the potion just right so Harry can drink it, but he hurt himself.
Do you guys too think that Slughorn would be a good teacher?
Maybe. I mean, he was before, right?
That's true. He has experience being in school, teaching. It's more than a lot of recent teachers, yeah.
But does he want to teach? Seems like he wants to hide.
Yeah, it seems like he does, but I think Harry kind of a little bit convinced him. I'm forgetting exactly what Harry said, but now he gets to go collect Harry and be near Dumbledore and at Hogwarts, which might be a really safe spot to be right now.
Because he said because he didn't choose being a Death Eater, that it's basically like
Yeah,
dead.
so he might have
So I
Harry
might as
might have
well
just
be
convinced
with
him like,
Dumbledore.
wow, Hogwarts is the best place for me. I don't have to run around and whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, could be good.
Yeah.
We still don't know if we trust him.
I know.
Do.
You
I'm curious. Wait,
You put him over everyone.
no, because I would feel
Like, we would
relatively
protect
safe with
you.
An
him
hour ago,
because he's
Danny's
such a
feeling
good
safer
wizard.
around him.
How do
But
you
now I'm
know
doubting it.
But how do you even know he's a good wizard? Because
He
he
turned
can
into a
hide.
couch.
Because he
I
turned into
don't
a
Which is pretty
understand.
impressive, yeah. Even as far as human
That's
transfiguration
impressive.
goes, that's
McGonagall turns into a cat.
yeah, because she's the transfiguration teacher. She's exceptional.
And
So
she's a
how do
registered
I know what he
animagus.
is?
She went through the whole process.
she's a registered animagus too. That's why she's a cat. But like human transfiguration turning into a couch cushion is actually unbelievably impressive.
We've never
Like,
seen that before.
Crumb turned into a half shark.
Anyone can become a critter. That's
Jen's
easy.
being ganged up on right now.
I'm pretty sure an animal is better than an object.
Yeah, for sure. But what
Yeah,
animal is he going
way
to turn
more
into?
functional.
What's going to make it obvious?
Then that means you're not that
Someone
good
with big
as a
butt.
wizard.
We could go his animagus form as a couch. It's not an animal. when he's doing his animagus transformation, a couch flies into his mind, and he's like, "That's the one. I want to be a couch."
Well, these days you can be. So
Yeah, you can be. Here's another line. Hold on. Yeah, this is another one that it's interesting. I hope you will forgive me for mentioning it, Harry, but I am pleased and a little proud at how well you seem to be coping after everything happened at the ministry. Permit me to say that I think Sirius would have been proud of you. Harry smiled. His voice seemed to have deserted him. He did not think he could stand to discuss Sirius. It had been painful enough to hear Uncle Vernon say, his godfather's dead? Even worse to hear Sirius's name thrown out casually by Slughorn. It was cruel, said Dumbledore, that you and Sirius had such a short time together. A brutal ending to what should have been a long and happy relationship. Harry nodded, his eyes fixed resolutely on the spider now climbing Dumbledore's hat. He could tell that Dumbledore understood, that he might even suspect that until his letter arrived, Harry had spent nearly all his time at the Dursleys, lying on his bed, refusing meals and staring at the misted windows, full of the chill emptiness that he had come to associate with the Dementors. It's just hard, Harry finally said, in a low voice, to realize he won't write me again. How do you think Harry's going to cope with this going forward?
It feels like this was a turning point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He felt really strong. Did you think of him as strong in this moment, or did it sound more like weak? He's still coping like in the 5th book.
No, I thought he was already doing great progress, having
Yeah.
great progress with it. Because he then later on, or before, I was saying that he realized that he has to like move on and he can't
Yep.
just stay in this wallowing state because there's bigger things he has to take on. And he's going to take the Death Eaters and whoever else with him. He has
Yeah.
to go.
That was a cute little line.
That was a good line.
This
Yeah.
was the Harry I was hoping for. I was nervous we were going to get book 5 Harry. We're getting book 6
I
Harry.
predicted this one.
Just 'cause
think
I-
it's
But
good.
it takes a book 5 Harry to get a book 6
It's,
Harry. You know?
It sure does, yeah. But I felt like I was proud of Harry with his response here. That
Yeah.
that felt good.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting because I know we're not in that chapter yet, but I feel like Tonks is going through what Harry went in the last book.
Yeah.
Because he was more responsible. He felt more responsible for that
Hmm.
in a way, even though
Yep.
it wasn't even.
She's
well,
an
neither
interesting
of
one, though.
theirs.
She's a really interesting one. Yeah, it wasn't either of their faults. But they still carry the survivor's guilt. They were saying that later in that chapter, and that's a
Yeah.
tough thing.
But yeah, you're right. Having that last book, Trials,
Hmm.
helped him.
Harry
I think
didn't.
he also.
Oh, sorry. I was going to change the subject. Keep going.
I forgot.
Bring it back.
I think he realizes how important it is now too. I think because he's seen
Yep.
it and he sees how
Mm.
powerful that he's become, and that Dumbledore had to take him on, and he didn't even like quickly beat him.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like
Yep.
this is like, okay, I need to focus. Like, yes, it's really sad, but I can't dwell on this because I need to prepare.
Yep. And he's still in action. It feels like he still knows there's urgency. So he's not like taking time to step away and like grieve. He's like, no, this is still a thing. And if we don't act, more people could die. So it feels like he's still in like fighting mode a little bit, which is great.
It's almost nice that you skipped over that few months of depression that he had in the summer, because you get great moments in this one, like that he went through that in the summer.
Yep.
But then you get the great moments where, we'll talk about this even at the end of this chapter, where Dumbledore tells him to tell what the prophecy was to Ron and Hermione, and then he tells him that, and Harry isn't even listening to the response because he's just so happy that they're on his side and that they're like,
Yep.
they're coming up with all sorts of things. They're like with him.
Oh, so good.
Such a beautiful moment, and you're
Mhm.
like, he's growing and he's maturing.
He's
Even-
finally listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even Dumbledore saying
Forever.
to tell other people, like, that's an interesting
Yeah.
thing that he did. Do you first of all, do you think that was a wise move on Dumbledore's part as far as the information is concerned? It was a wise part as far as like friendship and trust and moving forward in a friendship, like communicating to people. Do you think it was wise as far as information is concerned?
No. I think it was worth the trade-off, though.
Mm.
At least Dumbledore thinks so. And I tend to agree with him. I wish Harry would have done a few more little friendship raspberry jam checks with it before sharing stuff, you know? But But yeah, I think it's good.
Could you imagine if at the end of the 6th book, Hermione takes a mask off, and she's been polyjuiced the whole entire book?
Yep.
Wait, for a second when she like disappeared for a
I
second,
know.
I thought that when she got punched by whatever.
Yeah, that's
thing.
right.
Oh my
that's right.
gosh.
I
That was
was
a funny
like,
moment.
wait, what? He just said something
What
and she
just happened?
disappeared.
Yeah.
He spilled the beans.
Yeah.
We're gonna say something else though.
Ah, yes.
Oh no!
No,
That's
it's nothing
not
much.
a
But
good
it's just
guess.
that Harry didn't have any spiders on him, but Dumbledore had a spider in his hat, and then said that he would shake multiple spiders onto Harry if he donned his hat to him. Thus, Dumbledore went to visit the spiders in the Forbidden Forest, and I think he was trying to make sure they were not on Voldemort's side, so that he could give them a little bit of a mission.
I'm gonna laugh now because I was like, did I miss something? Why are there spiders all over?
Yeah,
me?
I know, me too.
That I paid attention to because I'm like, get the spiders out.
Yes, I knew you would notice that. And I'm like, if Harry just noticed it once, okay, fine. That could just be Rita Skeeter in spider form. But
She's changed animated
but then
form.
for Dumbledore to mention it like a page later and also be like, oh, I'll shake the spiders off. I was like, okay. Just subtle little reference. I think it's going to come back around. And so
It always does.
I invested a little more time,
Some way.
mental energy into thinking about it. I'm thinking
notes.
Dumbledore has talked to the spiders, but I just can't tell. Are the spiders already like more closely aligned to evil because they are spiders after all, and the whole thing with Hagrid and Tom Riddle back in the day? But because of that, wouldn't they naturally hate Voldemort even more? But I was forgetting exactly what happened with Hagrid, so I was like, you know what? I think Dumbledore gave them a mission, but I don't know what it is.
This is
They might
fan
just
fiction
be
at its finest. Right now.
yeah, they might just be protecting Hogwarts. They might just be another layer of defense around Hogwarts. And Dumbledore's like, yo, you guys are in the forest. Lock this forest down. You know what? I'm going to keep some of your boys with me. And if things happen, I'll send some messages back.
Oh, I thought you
or I'm
messaged. I
gonna-
thought you were talking about hostages for a
Oh.
second there.
No, I don't think Dumbledore would do that.
Yeah.
But either like keeping them just as part of like the little spider network, the spider web. But I can't exactly figure out why. Or maybe it was just an accident. Or like maybe he's leaving these spiders in a lot of different places. No, I don't
Get rid
know.
of the
That was
frickin'
too far.
spiders.
The point is, I think he visited the spiders, and I'm curious to see why. Anyways,
Yeah, Dumbledore would never keep a hostage.
not as
you know.
hostages. Or
Raise
if he
someone
did,
up
he
for
would do it with a
slaughter or
twinkle in his
something,
eye. And you're
That's
like, wait, is
why
that
he
a
had a
hostage or is he
smirk
making
when
a
I
new
asked
friend?
what
Yeah.
were you going to talk about.
What are their private lessons going to be on? Because Harry asks, "What will you be teaching me, sir?"
Great question.
Oh, a little of this, a little of that," said Dumbledore
So
airily.
dodgy. He loves these little twinkle
I
in the
know.
eye answers.
What are their lessons going to be about?
Man, what are they gonna
Ancient
do?
magic.
I mean, that's
That's the
what it feels
podcast
like.
tonight.
But like,
And our sponsor is Ancient Magic tonight.
Anxious magic, ancient magic, all the above.
yeah. I mean, that would make sense. But like, what?
I don't know what ancient magic is.
Yeah, me
Everyone
neither.
keeps asking me what.
Well, I just like I don't know what Dumbledore was going to teach Harry, but I feel like just no. You know what? Harry only needed a little Expelliarmus to get to fight Voldemort in the graveyard. So I don't think Dumbledore needs to teach him major spells. I think Dumbledore needs to teach him like other stuff, but I don't know what.
I feel like a lot of defending stuff or being able to like get past like big groups or to any of those curses to like really work on your mental blocks or what's the
Yeah.
defense. Or to be able to do multiple things. Dumbledore can do multiple things
you're
at
right.
once. Harry can do one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's teaching him to like expand the mind so you could do like multiple things at once to take on a bigger crew of people.
Yeah. Because I don't think there's one magic little spell that's going to solve all their problems. But there's not enough time to teach Harry everything Dumbledore knows. But you know what? I hope he starts with a real history of Harry's parents and real details about the past and what happened the night his parents died.
This is why we like book 6, because Dumbledore is teaching Harry.
Yep. And that's, I feel like we're gonna get some answers even with his Black Hand. It's like, it's a long story. Great, tell it to me. That's the first
Because
lesson.
I'm not taking any other classes.
and do I get that ring? You know, like I want one of those Blackstone rings. You know, like that's the thing. It's like, what's the deal here? There's
Jamie's
He's
got
just
a
getting
list
greedy.
Of
Yeah,
questions.
Do you want a Blackstone ring?
yeah, I do.
that would actually be kind of cool as a guy's wedding ring, like a Blackstone.
That'd be
ring.
pretty sick, right? And it could be in the middle, a whole little thing. It'd be great.
Whoa.
Hey,
Maybe we just got an idea.
Brilliant. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of information that Harry needs to know, and it feels like Dumbledore never has time, but now they'll have time, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, but he has to take other classes too, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but nothing.
Trumps this.
Yeah, like what other classes so he can go get a job? He might be dead. You know what I mean?
He was so sad.
It's like
about
step 1, Harry, just like survive because the Dark Lord is trying to kill you. So let's learn the stuff that'll help you survive.
The
Then
only
you
thing is, if
can
one
worry
of
about
them
your
dies,
job.
that mean the other one just like exceeds everything. Like if one dies, the other one just like, I'm the most powerful in the world.
I mean, I guess that's already
no
true
one
for
else
Voldemort.
can kill you.
Yeah. Well, other
Well,
people could probably
Dumbledore.
kill Harry though. So like, well,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
it's not good if evil wins. That's for sure.
So that's what private lessons are about. Dumbledore's got to train him so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Didn't I predict this?
What, that Dumbledore's going to
In
Mr.
book
Miyagi him?
3. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, he probably did.
I mean, it's obvious.
But whatever's happening is serious too, because Dumbledore does want him to carry around the invisibility cloak all the time. So it is pretty serious. But we're on chapter 5. Let's move to chapter 5. An
Oh,
excess
yeah.
of phlegm. Give me a quick summary of this chapter.
Danny or Kristen.
Jen, how about you
Never
do it?
take one. It's about
long chapter.
Fleur
I had to
de la
go all the way to the end here.
All right, we're at the Burrow. We find out that Fred and George are running a joke shop, and Bill is engaged to Fleur, Flem, and none of the women are happy about it. The kids get their owl results, and all did well.
All right, who's right? The men or the women about Floor?
I guess it depends who you're asking.
I'm asking you guys.
I don't feel like I know enough about her to really know if she's like this ditzy,
I love that answer.
like.
Yeah, I actually didn't agree with the women.
Wow.
I think because being in like such a big family with in-laws and stuff,
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, they're very, very cliquey, and I get that as a big family. It's
Yep.
hard
Yeah.
to let the
Yep.
first in-law into
Sure.
the family.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. Like, you know, it's just it's difficult because like this is our family, but you got to expand, obviously. So I was like, ooh, I didn't really like it because they were. I felt like they were solely basing it off of her looks.
Interesting.
And
yeah.
I didn't like that. That's the feel that I got. I don't know if anyone else got
Yeah.
Yeah.
differently.
I got
No,
the same
you're right.
feel.
But I think also I wonder if it plays into like, well, she's part. What is she?
Vila.
Vila.
So like I wonder if the women are just like, oh yeah, all the
Ooh.
guys just like fall for her and they want her, but like, are you even really paying attention to her personality or who she is,
Right.
'Cause
or you're masked by it or something?
That's what they said. They said Tonks is twice the personality that she has, or whatever. They said something like that.
But I don't think they're getting past that either. Maybe.
Mm.
I
And
stood
maybe
up for
Tonks
Florida.
does, but
Yeah.
maybe she's. I don't know. We haven't seen her and Bill together.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
It's
right.
like, you
I'm
just
trusting
don't know.
Bill on this one.
And we don't
Yeah.
even know Bill.
I know.
True.
Danny in like the first podcast said Bill and Charlie are going to play major parts in this book.
It did take like 3 or 4
Yeah.
books to have that happen.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you could call this major,
Yeah.
but I'm glad they're here. I'm glad we met them
I was
finally.
rooting for Floor back in
I know.
Book-
Yeah.
what was that? 3, 4,
Book 4.
No idea.
I don't think she's like great,
4.
but she does seem nice-ish.
But how can you get any
Yeah.
information from this?
She's not fighting
Well,
back.
who's the
That's
champion
just
of
the
a
tournament.
of an entire school? So she's
Yeah.
definitely an incredible witch.
Also, she's probably just really good at stuff because she was always wanting to help and stuff, and Mrs.
Yeah.
Weasley's like, no, it's fine. I could have gotten that or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she's one step ahead of them, so maybe
Yeah.
they're annoyed by that.
Seriously.
Mm. And even the cultural thing of just being from a different country, it felt like they weren't being quite welcoming. But they're also being very honest with Harry about how they're feeling, so it's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't
I
quite
was trying
understand
to figure
it.
out who it was. It was funny though, listening.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I wonder, because I don't think I heard the. Oh no, I did hear the thing, the title of the chapter,
Who Flem
but I
was.
didn't know what that was actually, because I didn't see the picture.
Right.
What do you think of Tonks in this chapter, though? Because this is kind of the beginning of the chapter.
She's a mess.
Yeah.
Weird that she's blaming herself,
Yeah.
just like Harry did. Everyone can't blame themselves. Well, I guess it could be collective effort, but
Well, if anything,
bad.
it really is Harry's fault.
Yeah.
no. But I understand why Tonks would feel like it's her fault too. Like she had a chance to like take her down, and she might be rethinking every single move. Like, what if I just did, whatever? And Harry, now it was equally his fault too, because none of the things would have happened if it wasn't for Harry. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel bad. Like I wish she was able to kind of move on a little bit, but
I think she just needs time, but it's
Yeah.
affecting her powers. That's not
that's
good.
rough.
I didn't realize they were cousins. I forgot.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a tough one. Yeah, Nymphadora Tonks. She was burned out of the their family tree.
Hmm.
But that's like a tough one. Your cousin, right? They're cousins,
I thought that's
yeah,
what it said.
yeah, I believe so.
I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
She can't even, and like this is another interesting part. Like it's transforming. Again, this is another reason I love it, because it's like deeper, because of what she's experiencing and feeling. It's actually transforming the magic within her. She can't like morph like she used to. Like it's changing the fabric of who she is. Like this grief, and I think there's something that's kind of in that for some parts of grief and just normal life in the Muggle world. Like certain parts of grief can transform who you are. That's why I love
Yeah.
depressing books. One
Being
person that I listen
transformed.
to says every time they cry, they feel like they become a new person, and so they have a cry journal. Every time they cry, they write it down.
It's great.
I know. I
Like
think it's a
what
great
made
idea.
them
line.
cry?
Huh?
Like what made them cry, or
Yeah,
when they cried?
They write down the date that they cried and what made them cry. Sometimes it's just something like a movie, but they say when they come out of that, they feel like a new person.
Wow.
I can relate.
Kind of profound. I like that.
I kind of
Kinda
like that
like
too.
that idea.
My journal would be huge.
What do you guys think of
Volumes.
Molly Wobbles?
Oh my goodness, that was funny.
Oh God.
Because this is the line. What do you like to call me when we're alone together? Even by the dim light of the lantern, Harry could tell that Mrs. Weasley had turned a very bright red. He himself felt suddenly warm around the ears and neck and hastily gulped soup, clattering a spoon as loudly as he could against the bowl. Molly Wobbles, whispered a mortified Mrs. Weasley into the crack at the edge of the door. Correct, said Mr. Weasley. Now you can let me in.
He's like so.
I know.
Oh,
Correct.
I love that so much.
Oh, poor Harry.
So guys, what are your guys' pet names for each other?
Oh man, no pet names yet. Well, Jen's against pet names.
Jen Wobbles? No Jen Wobbles?
Yeah, well, that's what it'll be now.
Or Danny Wobbles? Danny Wobbles kind of works.
That works. That works. What do you think, Jen?
Sure.
That's gonna be it. That'll be our secret password from now on. Is it really you?
The secret password.
Actually, can't find this. What page? Oh, you guys are different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I got it. 86.
Thank you. Pet names.
Even before we got to that, I thought it was cute that Molly was so proud of the promotion that Arthur got. She was like all like happy
I
for
know.
him and stuff. I'm like,
I
oh,
love
that's
that.
cute.
I really love their marriage. Their
Yeah,
marriage is
same.
so
So
great.
good.
in the
After that
books.
many kids, and they're still.
I know. They're
Yep.
still like
Going at it.
feisty
It
and
sounds
fiery.
like Molly Bubbles.
Still a bunch of hot tamales.
I know. Mr. Weasley is such a hot tamale. He comes in ready to go.
What?
Harry ruined that for him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, Harry.
Oh, Molly Wobbles.
You weren't supposed to come until.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It sounded like Molly Bubbles when I heard it.
Ah.
Oh really?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a cute one too.
Still works.
I feel like it's different though. Wobbles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm catching up on chat.
Molly Wobbles. No pet names. What pet names have you guys had? Do you even like pet names?
Mm-mm. I don't think I've had.
We barely even do nicknames like in my family and
Yeah.
stuff too.
Yeah.
Except my one cousin, she would give us all nicknames. I was Tiggy.
That's cute.
Oh, that is cute.
I remember you said that. I think you said that on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe
think it
I
was.
did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've
That's a
million
good
She was the only one.
nicknames. I don't think I've had pet names.
Oh, is that kind of the same?
Sometimes I think they can be, but I think of pet names as being
Like
cutesy.
romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
they,
feel
yeah, either romantic or like a really close, like kind of intimate friend. But
Well, Tiggy would be that, wouldn't it?
yeah, that's why that sounds like a pet
Yeah.
name to me. You know.
No, I'm just called
I think
Jen.
my nickname
though.
is Crispix. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cute.
it's a cereal.
yeah.
What do you guys talked about this before, but what do you think of Fleur coming back into the story?
I had a feeling she was going to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. She, like, just left abruptly.
Mm.
And I feel like, what's his name's going to come back too? Crumb?
Very interesting. Yeah. Why is Floor here?
Do you think there's a deeper
Oh
reason?
yeah, I do.
What's
I
your
didn't until you
theory?
said that, but now I do.
Danny's dissecting not only
What,
the
to get
book,
the...
Not only the
my
book, but your
to get the
questions.
Vila,
No, some of them mean
to
nothing.
get the
That's
Vilas
why
for the Death
I'm trying to
Eaters.
throw you
Can
off
you imagine
sense.
a whole village of Vila?
Yeah.
A Vila
Oh
village?
my God.
And then they get
Would
the
be
Death Eaters all
nuts.
crazied up.
Ooh, that's a great
That would
idea.
be awesome. That's
Wow,
good
that's
to have her in her back pocket.
Nice, good distraction.
Yeah, I know.
I'm thinking we're either going to, taking the strictly Floor element of this, we're either going to end up in France with Floor's people, or we're going to end up in Gringotts. There was something else that Gringotts has come up like 4 times so far in the book. We got Bill, we got Floor, we've got one of the people that Horace collected is the Goblin Liaison Office.
Mm-hmm.
So
his name?
Probably.
wait.
That's written
Come
down.
on, you know it. Come on, Danny.
Oh, it starts with a C, like Cintion,
Kind of.
Cintrion.
Dirk
whatever.
Cresswell.
Oh yeah. But then, didn't he recommend that person to the Sirion? I gotta find it
Maybe.
because the one that I actually underlined was.
He's gonna say no, you're wrong.
I was like, yeah, like nah, that's not it.
He's
Oh,
like,
here we go.
"Actually."
Well, Dumbledore was the one, or recommend the next junior member of the Goblin Liaison Office. So we didn't actually know that earlier on when he was kind of listing people out, when he said Cicerone Harkis. But I don't know about, or Dirk Cresswell. Yeah, because he's the head of the Goblin Liaison Office.
Yeah.
He's like,
But
"No, you're
the
right."
only reason that Dirk was able to get that
Don't
job
question me, Danny.
is because Horace introduced him to Cicerone Harkis.
There you
So
go, there
either
you go.
way, we've got
There it is.
that's 2 people that we know in the Goblin
You're
Liaison
gonna
Office,
crush a trivia night one
and
of
2
these days.
people we know that work in
We're never gonna be able
Gringotts.
to go.
So you know why else? This is why we're going to Gringotts, guys. Wow, this is all coming back to me because
full-fledged conversation.
But
I
themselves, yeah.
can't help it. Because guys, they already introduced the fact that Fred and George have a shop in Diagon Alley.
Wow.
So we're definitely going to Diagon Alley. We're gonna hang with Fred and
And
George,
Gringotts.
and then we're going to
Gringotts.
Gringotts.
What's going to be in Gringotts? Dirk Cresswell?
Will they really need him to get to Gringotts?
Could they be
We could,
keeping
at the
part
least,
of some kind of spell thing in
Ooh,
Gringotts in the
spell
safe?
thing. In a safe, in a
safe.
vault.
Is there anything
Well-
deep in the vaults of Gringotts
I
that
think
like they
yes.
need?
I was literally just thinking at first Harry's own vault. Like, what if he got something from Sirius he didn't know he got, and they're like, "Whoa, let's head down to the vault and see what got deposited there." Dumbledore said they were gonna like add things to his like account. So if his vault just got full of more Sirius black gold, what else did he inherit from Sirius that just went to the vault? So at the least, they might need to go to the vault. Or maybe they need to pick up something else for Dumbledore in the Hogwarts vault. Or maybe they have to steal something. That's a little aggressive.
I don't think
Does Gringotts
stealing-
really support the Death Eaters and hold their stuff? They can't
I
be
feel
that
like
neutral.
no one would be able to live if you tried to steal something from Gringotts.
Because
I
you could
thought-
get trapped in the
That's what
thing
they
for
said
all
in the
eternity.
first book.
Yeah. They're like, we never check these things. If
Yeah.
people break in, they'll just die. And goblin magic seems too powerful, so I don't know about all that. But at the least, they might need to get something from Harry's vault. And for whatever reason, maybe they can't let people know they're doing it. So it's not real stealing. It's only stealing from themselves. Yeah. Anyways, it's either that or they're going to France. So if we hear another word from Eminem, the old Madame Maxime, then maybe we'll end up in France hanging out with the Beaubaton girls.
Yeah.
So either way, Fleur is here for a reason.
Interesting.
All that to say that.
All that to say, that's why Fleur is here.
Yeah. I like that.
So, Jen, why do you think Fleur is
I
here?
don't know. You had like 1,000
Sorry, that was the whole
explanations.
thing. Yeah.
It's good. I just don't know what to add to it.
How about this one? What do you think of? We talked about this one in the previous chapter, but what do you think of Harry giving the information of the prophecy to Ron and Hermione?
Well, Dumbledore told him to do that.
Yeah. Do you think Dumbledore was wise to have done that?
Yeah, because I think he needs people to understand the what was the word I want?
I don't know.
Yeah, that.
But I know the vibes you're putting out there,
Mhm.
and I agree with you.
Because if he doesn't have his friends and he doesn't realize that he actually has a big part in this,
Yeah.
they could just think.
The
I think it
urgency?
changed. Yeah, maybe they're.
Something or importance or-
Well, yeah, or like his role in it. Like before, they might have just thought, oh, he's like the special one. But like it's the same thing as chosen. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's just good to have your people in your corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
And that's what he comes to understand at the end of that too. 'Cause
Yep.
This was the line that I was talking about before, but Harry did not really listen. A warmth was spreading through him that had nothing to do with the sunlight. A tight obstruction in his chest seemed to be dissolving. He knew that Ron and Hermione were more shocked than they were letting on, but the mere fact that they were still on either side of him, speaking bracing words of comfort, not shrinking from him as though he were contaminated or dangerous, was worth more than he could ever tell them.
Oh, that was my favorite moment.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. That was
No,
good.
I was like, what
Oh.
else?
That's it. That is just my favorite moment.
That was a good one. I think also he was trying to teach Harry to like open up to his friends too.
Yeah.
So when things start coming up, you can share them
Hmm.
and get support. You have to take it on alone
Yeah.
and then not feel the stress, because he probably also needs to be like a soundboard so he can focus too, and like whatever spells or whatever he's learning from Dumbledore, when you can vent to your people and let it out, you could just focus on what's important instead of stressing on things and keeping it to close to heart.
Yeah, and you even have that line that was a great line. The tight obstruction in his chest seemed to be dissolving. And I feel like that's so true when you're like just holding on to things. I feel like this would have eaten Harry alive if he just had to carry that on his own. I think Dumbledore knows that too. That's why like therapy is so effective, and just talking to like friends and people that you love, because you're holding things in for so long and you start verbalizing that, and it's like things just dissolve in you. It's a great way to like describe it. You're like, oh, okay. I can like think through this and process this, and this is helping, you know.
Yep.
Little therapy. Sorry, a little mead indigestion right there. How do you think? What do you think of Harry's OWL results? And more importantly, what did you guys get on your SATs?
I don't even remember.
SATs, for those listening who are from England, are our modern Muggle equivalent of the OWLs.
Do you guys remember? I don't even
How
remember.
high
I
did
don't
they
even
even
think
go
I
up
remember,
to?
yeah.
Like, I don't even
Literally,
remember what the
The
I know.
only thing I remember
Yeah.
is leaving, taking the SATs, and feeling like I was 10% like 50% dumber, because I
Yeah,
was like,
they were
it drained
yeah.
so much out of me.
Mhm.
I was like, that was the worst 4 hours of my life.
Yep.
I have
I
such
hated
opinions
it.
on the SATs too. I think they're such a poor reflection on like. That's why I don't like the OWLs. I think they're a poor reflection on an actual student
Yeah.
and their abilities. I actually like the OWLs because they are practical too. So I like them more than I like the SATs.
True.
The SAT
Yeah.
is just sitting down and taking a test, and you're in a room for 5 hours, and it's
It's
just math
horrible.
and English. I'm like, what the heck kind of a test is this?
Yeah.
and that
terrible.
determines your future.
And the fact
So
that it's so
stupid.
focused on too, because it does, to be honest, make a lot of sense for certain jobs.
Yeah,
If you're going
100%.
to end up sitting 8 hours a day behind a computer and doing a job, like, well, that's kind of what I do. So I guess like an SAT
He did
feels
well
like
on
a
his
fair
SATs.
assessment.
But you're,
there
the
are
other
so many
podcast that you
people
listen to,
wouldn't do
Revisionist
that.
History, with the lawyers one.
I don't even
Yes.
think.
That was a good one.
I know.
Wait, what?
The lawyers take, what do they take? The
The
to
bar.
get into law school. No, to get into law school.
Oh,
I forget what it's called.
Wait, is that the ACT? No, what's the?
No.
I don't know. I think.
yeah,
know
I
what
forget
you're
what that one's called.
But what was the point of that? What did you say?
Oh, I forget all the details of that episode, but he was going into the data behind like taking the exam and actually the success rates in school. And John, did you remember the specifics of that? It's been a while.
Oh, you're talking about a
Yeah.
podcast or
So
Oh,
this
yeah,
is a podcast.
Revisionist
It was
History
like yeah, it was a quick podcast on how this test is so ineffective. And there's an elite amount of schools, like it's like the 16 best law schools, and a lot of firms will only hire from these schools. But he interviewed all these people outside of it, and one guy in particular, he like gave a whole speech at some law thing, and he's like, I only will hire Harvard law students. He's like, that is the only people that he'll hire because he doesn't have time for these other people. Malcolm Gladwell asked him, he's like, who's your best person in your office? And he's like, some guy from a rinky-dink college that doesn't know anything, and like he just spends hours reading, and he reads thoroughly, and he's like, he's the best worker that I've ever worked with. And so the whole thing is like, this test is like a farce. It doesn't make any sense because
You're right.
this test grades you on how fast and effectively you can process information, and law isn't about that. It's about how much like you can spend a lot of time reading, but you don't have to do it fast. You just have to do it thoroughly. So if you remember the facts and you can know those facts thoroughly, that's what it's about. So it's like the test is stupid, just like the SAT is stupid. I'll rant on this for hours, guys. But anyway,
The SAT is terrible.
running
and
out of time.
thankfully, we've seen that Hermione can also retain information and recall it when it's necessary. So it's not just memorizing for
Yeah.
a test. And I think
Yeah.
that's really the key. And that's why the OWLs are better than
Yeah.
SATs.
It's the LSAT too. People are saying that on chat.
LSAT. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember the only thing I remember about my SATs was the year that I took it. It was probably the year you took it too.
Yeah.
That they changed the grading scale from a 1600 to a 2400, and that works in my favor because I got it below a 1600, but I said some things to my family, like I don't know what I got. Let's say I got like a 1300.
So funny.
And a 1300 on a 1600 grading scale would be great.
Yep.
And so I like told my grandpa, and he was like, "You got like
That
a
is
1390," and it was a terrible score. But he
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
"That's
yeah.
so good."
You're
He's like, "That's better than your brother," and I was like, "Yep." That was
That's
great.
so good.
So I duped him.
I just remember that when I came back to school, I beat the kid in our class, David, and that made me so happy. And then I'm sure he took it 4 more times and crushed me.
100%.
But at least on that first one, I was like, yeah, all right.
That's so great.
And then even when I hear my cousins talk about the tests they take now, I'm like, I'm lost. I have no idea what any
I
of these
know.
things. They change it all the time.
Yeah.
Now there's no math portion, or they
I
changed
thought
it
you
to
don't
something.
even need it anymore.
No.
A lot of schools,
essay.
they don't even care
They don't
for
even
it. I know.
need
So
the
maybe
SAT scores
we're getting
anymore.
more progressive. Schools
I
are
like
actually
that.
learning that it doesn't show how
Well,
successful
my
someone will be
grades
at
versus
college.
my SAT scores were like, pff,
Yeah.
Mm.
But you're like a
this.
smart
Right.
person, so it's annoying that like it's based on your SAT scores what school you go to.
Yep.
But
and, yeah.
what do you think? So Harry can't be an Auror anymore. What do you think he's actually going to do what's his career path?
Why does he
gonna
need to
go
be an Auror? He's the chosen one. That's even better.
He's going to get an honorary pass to be an
Like
Auror.
he
because of that.
literally, yeah. It's so stupid.
I know.
His mindset is just funny because like he's doing something even higher than
I
an
know,
Auror.
defeating the greatest evil known to wizard kind. And he's bummed that he can't defeat lesser forms.
Because he thinks there'll be a future somewhere. Hopefully, that's true.
I am impressed with Harry. I feel like he did pretty well. I didn't expect him to do
Yeah.
this well.
I didn't think he'd do potions.
I
Oh,
know.
that was the
that
other
was
thing
a
too.
surprising one.
Is that what Snape required? He said acceptable isn't good enough, but
Yes.
exceeds expectations is.
No, because Harry got an exceeds expectations.
So
in his
it's
potion.
I know,
only
that's why
people
I'm
who
so
are outstanding.
confused.
So
Yeah, he
Harry
only
won't
takes
be in
outstandings.
potions.
Yep.
Okay, I
So-
couldn't remember where he drew that line.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
literally that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I was confused. I'm like, he didn't fail.
Yeah, I know.
So Yeah, so Harry, in theory, won't be in potions or history of magic or divination, but he's going to have the other.
Yeah, he's got
6?
pretty much everything else. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so he's in a lot.
very impressive.
Was there anything else in this chapter or the previous one that you guys saw that you want to make note of? We're all looking at Danny.
I'm like always. Well, I am, first of all, just proud that Ron also passed all of those.
Yeah, he did great.
Almost suspiciously, and I feel bad that I say that, but like he's right up with Harry on that
Yeah.
stuff. That's amazing.
He got double what the twins got, right? I think that was a line in there somewhere.
So great. Yeah. Also, Percy is still super lame.
Yep.
And there was a line from Dumbledore that I thought was a good one. Well, actually, I think Hermione mentioned it. Dumbledore said people find it far easier to forgive others for being wrong than being right.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, wow. Just
That is
more
a
wisdom
yeah.
from Dumbledore.
Yeah, that was a really good one. And so that's an interesting one for two parts, for Dumbledore, people forgiving him, and for even Percy. What do you think Percy is going to do the rest of this book and the next one?
Follow Fudge still.
Yeah, sadly. he
Is
might.
that who he idolizes? Yeah, that's what I can't figure out.
I thought so.
I mean, certainly when he was in the office. So was that loyalty so deep that now that Fudge is out, he's still loyal to Fudge? And then when Fudge forms his army, Percy's going to be a general? Or is Percy going to be just seeking the next power guy and moving on to something else? I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be... I have a little bit of hope for Percy. I want to call it, actually, 60-40, he goes bad.
Percentages, I like that.
I don't want him to go bad, but I do think he's leaning that way pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
It would take something pretty big to bring him back.
Mm.
He is stubborn, and he has kind of cut his family off.
Yeah.
Any last tidbits before we go over the last few things? All right. Favorite moment? Favorite character who wins the House Cup? Who's the hot tamale? There's a lot of hot tamales in this chapter, actually.
So many.
Danny's counting in his head right now.
So true, John. Kristen doesn't like when I count out loud, so I'm going to count my...
Hot tamale.
Is that where you start? You're like, who's the hot tamale? I'll work backwards from there.
That's why I think I always say it first.
Yeah. I'm
Because
curious.
it's easier.
Who takes the
Kinda.
win on this one?
That is tricky this time, though. I want to say Floor, just because everyone couldn't stand her in the chapter. And I was rooting for her back in the Wizarding Cup because she was the only female
Mm.
in it. What is it again? Favorite moment?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's hard. I feel like I really liked when Slughorn? No, Slug.
When you say it like that, it sounds wrong, but I think that's his name.
Yeah. How
Horace
else would you say it?
Slughorn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Slughorn.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, I forget. It's so long those
When he
lines.
was
Yeah.
talking about Harry's parents, I thought that was really just like sweet, like how he loved Lily.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
But then what Kristen was saying was her favorite moment before was really great too, with like the sun shining more
Yeah.
after he told his friends about
Yeah.
being the chosen child.
Mm.
And what's the third? Did I
The
get-
chosen child.
The chosen child. I don't know. I guess that's the billboard, the cursed child.
Yeah. Combining them. I think you because you did your
combined.
favorite character, Hot Tamale. Do you have your Hot Tamale?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was Floor.
Did you have your House Cup then?
Oh, Dumbledore.
Yeah. He's so in control in this chapter.
Mm.
Yeah.
In like an uncontrolled way. He just lets Harry do work and he just like knows. It's great.
Yep.
But I guess he's manipulative too, but
That's a little harsh. That's a harsh word, but just to balance it out, it could be sometimes. But I also think he's
I like
giving
him.
Harry a little room to grow. So I'm trying to view it more that way of like, he's giving Harry
A
space,
nudge.
but trying to guide him while
Mm.
he does that. So yes, it's manipulative, but I'm trying to view it as like teaching moments, because otherwise I think I'd view Dumbledore in like a negative light a little bit. So I think Dumbledore has good intentions with it, even if it's a little much with manipulating.
Yeah, it's a little under the radar manipulation, but
But we don't know all the
we're just
the
maybe
facts
not
yet.
maybe manipulation, but also like not communicating everything.
Hmm.
Like I
Yep.
feel like Harry would still be fine with this. He might not perform as well if he didn't know, but I feel like he'd still be fine. You know, like
Yes,
if Dumbledore told him
yes.
this, he'd be like, okay, sure, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But he just didn't give him that option.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna say hot tamale goes to Mr. Weasley.
hey, someone said that on
Course.
chat. And I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, he's
Mine
the
too.
hottest tamale right now.
Yeah.
Long successful marriage with Molly Wobbles, Molly Bubbles.
It's true.
That's hot tamale right there. House Cup, I'll also give to Dumbledore. He was crushing it.
Yeah.
And favorite moment, like Kristen, with all them sitting in the room talking it out. Harry kind
Yeah, that's
of
lovely.
being honest, hearing them talk, and just like that felt very safe. It's
Mm.
great.
I'm gonna agree with you on the hot tamale.
Yeah.
Arthur, man.
The
I
only one.
want to give it
Molly's,
to Dumbledore. but
Molly's
I'm gonna-
face is like a hot tamale right now. I'm so embarrassed. I love it. They're so
love it
cute.
too. Ginny was a little hot tamale too.
I
and
know.
was
Yeah,
like,
she
"Mom,
was
I'm talking
sassy.
to this lot.
Yeah.
She said, outraged. She was funny. But I think I want to give it to Slughorn just because he's interesting. And
Yeah.
he cracked me up that he literally destroyed his house because he wanted to avoid Dumbledore.
Yep.
Not his house. Another person's
Or
house
another
that he was
person.
living
That's
in.
right, that's right, that's
Which is
right.
Oh,
wild.
it wasn't even his. That's
But he
And I
fixed it
still-
so
Yeah, I know,
easily.
yeah.
I still couldn't figure out if like his piano and chandelier and stuff, like, was that all his stuff?
The piano was because you see he was like, it's hard to get these houses because I have to bring my piano in.
And all the
Oh,
stuff
I
on
love
the
his
mantle.
creature
So I'm like,
comforts.
this is barely another
Yeah.
person's house. He is just fully taking it over.
This guy's going a step above glamping.
Great.
I love that.
I didn't realize he carries that thing with him.
And I already said my favorite moment.
Yeah, it was a good moment.
The friends moment.
I think my favorite moment is the same as Jen's actually. The moment when Slughorn is talking about Lily. I think that's a really beautiful moment. And just like how he recognizes that in Harry and just how he like sees Harry. I think that's great. I think my House Cup actually there's one more moment that I really like that in this book I was like, ah, that's nice. When Harry goes into Fred and George's room and falls asleep. I was like, that was an exhausting
So
day.
true.
And then he goes home and he like gets cut like cozy under the covers and it's just like out immediately.
Mhm.
And then
He's
he's
so
woken up by his
comfortable.
friends. Yeah, yeah.
Seemingly
Like,
instantly, he
Yeah.
wakes up. That's so
I
great.
love
It's
that
a great
moment so
moment.
much.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're right.
That's one just like getting all cozy in bed. It's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
My House Cup I think is Harry because of his growth.
Hmm.
For a few different parts in
That's
this
true,
chapter. Like
yeah.
he's okay with, he seems like he's moving on really well. He's communicating his feelings not only to like his friends but also to Dumbledore. So he's doing much better at one of the biggest flaws that we've seen him as not
You're
communicating
right.
things.
You're right.
Yeah.
So he's growing
Yeah,
in that way
that's
pretty
true.
significantly. Because he's doing a lot of, and maybe not like open outright communication, but he's trying at least, which is just fantastic. So I'm loving his growth. And then my hot tamale is Tonks.
Hey.
Of course.
Oh, even a
Surprise!
depressed.
You
Oh wait,
switched.
but
He really
she's
switched from floor.
depressed. So
Depressed.
Oh, true.
I was thinking someone was gonna pick up on that. She's like, there's a depth of emotion that she's feeling. Like, yeah,
Depth of
phlegm.
emotion.
Floor, sorry, I shouldn't say phlegm. Floor, she's like still great and she's like bubbly and excited, but
that's not your speed. You like the moody.
I like people who feel deeply.
Hmm.
Enneagram
Feel
4s, I guess.
Oh, nice.
I like how you know that.
That's, a lot of my really good friends are Enneagram 4s, and they're just like emotional people, but they like
Hmm.
express their emotions very well.
Mm.
So I appreciate that. They're deep emotional people. I like Tonks. Tonks is a hot tamale. So that's who I got.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Until next time.
Woo.
Nice.
With 2 minutes to spare.
I know. Look at that. We went from 7:30 to 9:30. Perfect timing.
Wow.
It's amazing. We were
Wow.
on time.
I know.
Under 2 hours, almost exactly.
Got some good chapters coming up, guys. This one it gets really, really good. It's getting
Really,
so
really
good.
Oh boy.
Every time.
I know, but it does. It really
Well,
does.
each
Every
chapter we
gets
get
Wait, how many
one
chapters should
more.
we read this time?
Because
Because originally we were going to read the next chapter already.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
you
we
could
were
figure
gonna
out
do
where
7
that
this
fits in.
podcast, but we chapters of. I think we'll do 3.
Nice.
So 6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8. There's a lot in those chapters, but let's try it. Let's go for it.
I'm a slowpoke.
Yeah, we'll go for those chapters. Thanks for watching on the stream, guys. You guys are awesome as always. Love having you guys here. You guys make this so fun.
Whenever we're done, I'm going to go back and watch all the streams.
I know, and
and
you're
read
gonna
every
watch all the comments.
Oh my
I know.
gosh, that's a lot.
It must be so many.
It is so fun. It is
You
so
could do
fun.
that
I
on
can't
the
keep up with it
flight.
most of the time because like I'll go to my question sheet and I'll read some and then go back to the live stream and it's like 50
You have to
comments
catch
I
up
picked
on
so
all
I have
the
to try to catch
comments.
up, but I can't because I can't
Yep.
multitask. I'm a terrible multitasker, as you guys all know.
I'm trying to.
Anyway, all right, we're gonna end the live stream. You guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.